Chapter 633. Don't tell me you guys are really going to get married. Feng Xiao raised her eyebrows and deliberately teased. I feel sorry for Su Mu for 3 seconds. She had to admit that no matter where Su Mu went, he was a beautiful scenery. In less than one person entering Yinhua Academy, he instantly became as famous as Jiang Yijun and became the second school hunk of Yinhua Academy. What are you thinking about? Luo Qingchen gently patted Feng Zhao's head and said, Isn't the welcoming party about to start? What song are you going to sing? Feng Xiao was very talented in singing. She did not disappoint and won second place. At the same time, she got the opportunity to perform at the welcoming party. I want to give you a song. Feng Xiao looked at her and said, We have known each other for almost 4 years. Even if I am stupid, I should know what the memories in your heart are. Feng Zhao's voice was very soft, but her eyes turned red at this moment. Some memories, even if they were sealed in a box deep in the heart, could still burst out at a certain point. So, seeing Feng Zhao's serious look, she smiled and said, What do you want to sing? Time boils the rain. The welcoming party came as scheduled. This year's wintertime seemed to be particularly fast. S-City welcomed its first heavy snow. The snow was very deep, as if it was a university in the depths of winter. Luo Qingchen wore a goose yellow sweater, which was the one she bought when she first came here. The sweater was very new, and it seemed to have the scent of that young man. Jiang Yijun was punctual every day, waiting for her at the school gate and accompanied her through the longest tree-lined path in Yinhua Academy. It's so cold today. Jiang Yijun looked at her and said, Can you wear this? Luo Qingchen heard and gently shook the bag in her hand and said, I brought a coat. A white woolen coat. Memories and time overlapped at this moment. It seemed to flash in front of her eyes that year when he arrogantly took away all her bank cards, leaving only his card for her. I also have a performance tonight, but I can't invite a great pianist like you to accompany me. Jiang Yijun heard that she was going to accompany Feng Xiao, and the corner of his mouth raised a beautiful smile. When he first heard the proposal of a marriage alliance with the Luo family, he was extremely against it. Although she didn't know what love was, she didn't want to base her love on her family. And now, he increasingly felt that this kind of family marriage had become a kind of resolute expectation in his heart. Oh, she blinked and said softly, So, the person who won against Feng Xiao is you? Feng Xiao's voice was very good. Every sound was pure and clear. It was completely different from how she usually spoke. But what she didn't expect was that the person who finally won against Feng Xiao was actually Jiang Yijun. That's right. His eyebrows moved slightly as he smiled confidently. Don't I look like one? No way. She chuckled and said, Your looks are online. As soon as she finished speaking, she turned around and walked towards the intersection between the medical faculty and the performing faculty. Luo Qingchen. Jiang Yijun's eyes flashed with a faint light. If I win against Feng Xiao tonight and get first place, can we go watch a movie? Luo Qingchen slowly turned around and looked at the snowflakes falling on Jiang Yijun's hair. She smiled and said, Sorry, I don't like to watch movies. You don't like to watch movies? Or, you don't like to watch movies with me? He pursed his lips like a stubborn youth standing in the snow. His eyes were gloomy, and he smiled helplessly. I know your story, but that story has already happened 3 years ago. Chapter 634. There were some people that couldn't be replaced, even if it was such a coincidence, even if their stories were so similar. Since Feng Zhao's performance was the last, Luo Qingchen didn't stay backstage. Instead, she watched the gala from the front like everyone else. Every program was very exciting, but for some reason, she couldn't gather her thoughts. Jiang Yijun was the second to last performer. The moment he appeared, countless girls in the audience screamed. This scene reminded her of that year when that young man was also so popular. Today might not be an ordinary performance for me. Jiang Yijun picked up the microphone. Behind him was his music team. He liked music since he was young. When he was 18, he formed his first band. This band had a special characteristic. They never sang love songs. Because in Jiang Yijun's eyes, he couldn't sing love songs. Maybe it was because he had never experienced love, or maybe it was because he didn't like love songs. Jiang Yijuan, Jiang Yijuan, Jiang Yijuan, thank you everyone. He continued gently and politely. I want to give this song to someone who made me want to sing love songs for the first time. I know she's in the audience. He didn't say the name, but his eyes steadily fell on Luo Qingshun. In the next second, the accompaniment sounded. The music was very soft, with the unique sound effects of the electric guitar and his magnetic voice of nature. Because I just met you, leaving footprints is beautiful. The wind blows flowers and tears fall like rain. Because I don't want to be separated. Everyone cheered and sang along with his melody over and over again. But at this moment, Luo Qingshun's eyes were attracted by a flash of a figure behind the backstage curtain. She felt as if her heart had skipped a beat. She was completely stunned. At this moment, the backstage dressing room's door opened. Because Feng Xiao was the last to go on stage, she was the only one in the dressing room. Qingshun Idong, the sound of powder falling to the ground was heard. Feng Xiao thought that the person who came in was Luo Qingshun. She never thought that it would be him. She stared at the person in front of her, her eyes filled with shock. You. She said you 3 times in a row, but she couldn't say anything else. Do me a favor. The familiar voice of the young man slowly rang out. His eyes were filled with a black-bellied overbearingness that no ordinary person would have. In the next second, Feng Xiao nodded desperately. At this moment, her eyes couldn't help but redden. After Jiang Yijuan left the stage, half of the audience had already lowered their heads to play with their phones. They didn't seem to be interested in the last person to perform. After all, to them, the most exciting performance had already passed. Near the left side of the stage, there was a piano surrounded by curtains. Luo Qingshun thought she was going to that piano, but the stage controller motioned her to go to the piano on the right side. Feng Xiao sat in front of the piano and slowly picked up the microphone. She originally thought that she would turn around and nod at her, but she didn't expect that she would also speak in such a pretentious manner. This song, I want to give it to one of my most important friends. She pursed her lips. Her voice was a little choked, but she still took a deep breath and said, I want to tell her that if she waits, there will be a miracle. Luo Qingshun didn't know why Feng Xiao wanted to say this. She only knew that after she finished speaking, she nodded at her. Without thinking, she pressed the first note. The wind blows the rain into flowers. Time can't catch up with the white horse. The words in your young palm, are you still holding them tightly? When one part ended, another part began. Feng Xiao slowly put down the microphone. The corner of her mouth raised a very faint smile. Chapter 635. There was an incandescent light above the youth's head, and he was the same as 3 years ago. In an instant, he could become the center of attention. She only knew that in that instant, her mind was blank. She even forgot the notes on the black and white piano keys, but that youth slowly looked up with a sparkle in his deep eyes as he tacitly picked up the melody that she stopped playing. She sang the last part of the song with a light tone and a soft voice. I can't bear to take advantage of the innocent years. I won't let you down in the absurd youth. Snow, please don't erase the traces of us being together. Snow can't erase the marks we left on each other. The stage, which had already fallen into silence, instantly lit up like a dream. Qian, young Master Qian. One of the girls from the youth school recognized Luo Qianzhe on stage. Oh my God, it really is Luo Qianzhe. So handsome, so handsome. This old lady's young heart. It's young Master Qian. He's actually still alive. If you didn't stay in the youth school and didn't know a person called young Master Qian, you would have missed the most beautiful scene in your life. This was her first time feeling that these whispers could move her heart, because they said all the feelings in her heart. He really was handsome. Jiang Yijun, under the stage, narrowed his eyes to look at the man in front of him. His eyes were as deep as ink, and he was releasing the aura of a king. Only this kind of person could make her say that even if it was 30 years, it would still be the most beautiful story. Perhaps before this, he still felt that he couldn't compare to this man. But after this, there were no more doubts. The song ended. The original time, Boils the Rain played in the background. Luo Qian just slowly stood up in his white suit with a touch of maturity and a black-bellied childishness that never faded as he walked towards her step by step. Whether they were students from the youth school or not, they all called out his name at this moment. Again, again, and again. His crazy voice shook her eardrums. Luo Qingshun pursed her lips as her eyes were already filled with tears. He was the same as before, coming out in such a beautiful manner with an overbearing aura that didn't belong to normal people. She choked on her words. She was forcefully pulled into a warm embrace. This kind of dream, Luo Qian's eyes misted over. He used all his strength to control his emotions as he said in a trembling voice by her ear, "I've had it countless times." At this moment, she couldn't control her emotions no matter how hard she tried. She burst into tears in his arms. "Why did you only come back now? Do you know how scary it is to wait endlessly?" She said each word in a staccato manner, but she used all the strength in her hands to hug him tightly. "I'm sorry," he chuckled, picked up the microphone beside him, and said dotingly, "Baby wife, hiss." The scene was in an uproar. Even if they didn't know before, now everyone knew that she was Luo Qian's big sister. However, he still brazenly ignored the gazes of others and said what he wanted to say. He was still the same Luo Qianjia. Chapter 636. Isn't Luo Qingxin his big sister? Why is young Master Qian calling her wife? Big sister, big sister, big sister and little brother? God. Luo Qingxian felt that she was immersed in the joy of reuniting, but her face turned red in embarrassment. She bit her lip and said in a low voice, "You even deliberately took the microphone." The lights in the hall were all turned on. The door slowly opened, and a group of strangers with the principal in the back came in. They stood in 2 rows, and there were 2 rows of men in military uniforms. The one leading them was the mayor of S City, Wei Jun. "Your Highness Qianjia has come. Please excuse me for not going out to meet you. This humble one has already prepared a banquet. Your Highness Qianjia, please come with me." Wei Jun gave a half bow as his eyes filled with respect. There were already reporters at the entrance of Inua's studio. The luxury cars were already parked, waiting for the most honorable person to get in. The entire studio fell into silence. Everyone held their breaths and stared, not daring to say anything. "Your Highness Qianjia." Luo Qingxin's eyes trembled as she looked at Luo Qianjia in front of her. S City's mayor, ex-country, status, chief, all the information was reorganized in her mind. After that, she suddenly looked up at him and said, "You are the Z countries. Prince?" Hiss, another gasp of cold air was heard, but no one whispered to each other after that. But at this moment, everyone knew that Luo Qianjia's status wasn't normal. "Hello, Luo Qingxun." The youth under the spotlight slowly took a step back and elegantly reached out his hand to look at her. "I am Yuan Qianjia. This is our first time exchanging names. Please take care of me." His voice was very warm, and every word hit her heart. Each one was filled with power. Pucci, she pursed her lips and revealed a faint smile. It was unknown if she was moved or happy, but her heart was filled with excitement. It wasn't that she didn't understand the current political news, but when the ex-country was competing internally, all news was blocked. There were no reporters, so there was no news. Country X was a rich country. The more news there was, the more unfavorable it would be for the country. Therefore, no matter how fierce the competition in their own country was, the 2 factions of Country X had never revealed anything about their own country. In the next second, Luo Qingxun slowly reached out her hand. The moment her hand touched his palm, he grabbed it. "That warmth. Yes, please advise me." He took her hand and walked out of the studio. Under everyone's gazes, he disappeared at the end of the long staircase. In the extended Lincoln, she turned to look at him and said, "So, Dad?" "Yes, in Country X." Luo Qianjia gently patted her head. His dark eyes fell on her white coat, and his eyes became deeper. In an instant, the barrier on the back seat of the Lincoln slowly lowered. He glanced at the driver, who immediately closed the rearview mirror. What do you want to do?" Luo Qingxin naturally knew what he wanted to do. She pretended to be reserved and asked the obvious. Me? His eyes filled with a bit of warmth as he said, "My big sister. You should know, She seemed to want to say something, but she was kissed by an aggressive and domineering kiss. Luo Qianjia took his right hand and took her into his embrace, not forgetting to kiss her inch by inch. In 3 years, there were many lonely nights where it was the kiss in his memory that supported him as he took back his throne step by step. The only thought in his heart was that as long as he won, he could return to her side. If he lost, she would belong to someone else. Chapter 637. Let's make a bet. Luo Qianjia stood in front of the luxurious apartment, and the moment he pressed his fingerprint, he said to Luo Qingshan beside him, "If it looks like someone has lived here for a while, you have to promise me one thing." Luo Qingshan was surprised. Before she could reply, the door to the apartment was opened. There was a faint lilies in the air, and there were fresh lilies on the table in the living room. Everything was so clean. "It seems like my wife doesn't often come here to clean, rather she lives here." He habitually walked in. His dark eyes sunk, and there was a trace of pain in his heart. He had left her for an entire 3 years. "I still prefer this place." Luo Qingshan revealed a faint smile. There was a faint sparkle in her eyes as she looked at Luo Qianjia beside her and said, "That time was the happiest time for me." Pung! There was a giant cannon that rang out. Luo Qingshan took a step back in fear. He reached out his right hand and firmly hugged her. The window on the 32nd floor was slowly opened, and the brilliant fireworks entered their eyes. There was a neatly arranged sentence in English with each flash. "Marry me?" The next sentence was a self-answer. "Yes." This was very Luo Qianjia. "You." She stood there in a daze, unable to utter a single word. This definitely wasn't a coincidence. This had been planned for a long time. "I don't want to go back to X country." His eyes were very deep, like he had thought for a long time before coming to this answer. "Can you really give up something that you worked so hard to get?" Luo Qingshan bit her lip and looked into his eyes as she said, "I can go back with you." "No." He firmly shook his head and said, "I don't want you to go." After the infighting in the royal family and 3 years of planning, he knew that this place wasn't suitable for her. In his eyes, he only needed her to stand firmly by his side. Leave everything else to him. "Is this all right?" Luo Qingshan thought for a bit before saying, "I feel that Dad will be trembling with anger." The thing that Luo Wenfeng had spent so much energy and time to do was actually messed up by the children that he had doted on since he was young. "He should be trembling with anger right now," Luo Qianjia said with a gentle smile. "But he is the one who loves us the most." As soon as his voice fell, he slowly took out the ring from his pocket and asked the question that every girl in this world dreamed of. "So, my dearest sister and daughter-in-law, will you marry me?" What an awkward sentence. But Luo Qingshan could hear the unusual emotion in it. This was probably her and Luo Qianjia's story. Even the way they proposed was different. Ahem, ahem. After a long time, she cleared her throat and said, "As your older sister who is 7 days older than you, this love between an older sister and a younger brother." In the next second, an exquisite crown-like diamond ring was placed on her finger. Luo Qianjia picked her up without another word and walked upstairs while saying with an evil, charming smile, "Could it be that my wife doesn't know that the word big sister is a taboo in my dictionary?" In the past, he hated this word so much, but now it didn't seem that bad. "Is that so? Then, little brother, can you not suddenly kiss me like this? If you still want me to kiss you, you can keep saying that word." The smile in his eyes became even brighter, shining like stars. Chapter 638. After Luo Qianjia came back, the matters of the X country were temporarily left to Luo Wenfeng. The old king's will was to clear out the ants in the royal family. If it wasn't for Yuan Bai Hui wanting to sell the country to someone else, Luo Wenfeng wouldn't have made up his mind to bring him back. It was a democratic society now. Things like kings were things that the people wanted, and they had to be virtuous people. The day after Luo Qianjia proposed, he flew to the X country to take care of matters. Luo Qingshan went back to a Nor University to study. What she never thought was that Luo Qianjia's posters were all over in Nor University. "Have you seen the school net yet?" Feng Xiao opened a bag of chips and asked this in a casual manner. What? Young Master Qian's popularity increased overnight, reaching first place in a single night. Feng Xiao said with a faint smile, he's still the same as before, becoming the male god of the school. No one can match him. Luo Qingchun said with a chuckle, he's always been like this. AI, you're so proud. Feng Xiao looked at her watch and said, it's time for class. Do you want to leave together after school? She trembled and pursed her lips. Let's not leave together tonight. I feel like I'll have a different kind of encounter today. This was definitely just a sixth sense. There was nothing else. Z. Feng Xiao waved her hand as she teased. What encounter? Your young Master Qian is so strong. If you have an encounter, my Feng Xiao's head will turn into a watermelon. Luo Qingchun smiled and didn't respond as she walked towards the school building. This was a theoretical class. The professor was talking about the theories of neurosurgery on the podium with great enthusiasm. At this time, the principal came in. Luo Qingchun suddenly had a very strange feeling, but this feeling didn't make sense in theory. There is a new student coming to class 1 today. I think everyone should be familiar with this student. After that, Luo Qianzhou appeared on the podium. He looked over the crowd for a second before his eyes fell onto Luo Qingchun. She trembled. It had only been 72 hours since he flew to the X country. How could he come back this quickly? In an instant, everyone's eyes fell on Luo Qingchun. Everyone had an envious look on their faces, which was very different from the looks they received in their first year of high school. It was a kind of pure envy. It was probably because everyone had grown up. He wouldn't speak ill of others for no reason, and he wouldn't hurt others with his words. The story that he had experienced when he was 16 was a kind of settling down when he was 19. The only thing she was thankful for was that the person standing by her side had always been him. The youth on the podium seemed to have lost the arrogance of his first year of high school and said with a faint smile, "Hello, everyone. I am Luo Qianzhou. I came here with a purpose." He paused for a moment before continuing, "My wife is my priority, and my studies are secondary." At that moment, Luo Qingchun felt that he was a dazzling light. Every word was a declaration of his sovereignty and his purpose for coming here. Through the layers of wires, it shone into her heart. Having you in my life is enough. This life wasn't long or short, but Luo Qianzhou used all his love to pamper her. As long as it was something she wanted, it would always appear in front of her the next day. The things she didn't like would disappear in front of her eyes. His birthday wish every year was, he hoped that his wife's dreams would come true. When he was dying, he laid on the bed and looked at her lying beside him. He was still gently patting her back and singing that familiar song softly. What day is it today? The green grass is scattered. Chapter 639. I have no regrets in life, because I have you. I have no regrets in death. Luo Qianzhou, do you know the feeling of liking someone? It is no matter how cold they are to you. As long as you can see the sun the next day, you can like them without any reason. I like my big sister like this. She's called Luo Qingchun. He liked her with a kind of love that bordered on paranoia. When I entered the first year of high school, I heard that she was going to Zurich as an exchange student. It simply angered me to death. She really didn't tell me where she was going at all. That's right. She never cared, nor did she care how much I liked her. I thought that I would be like this for the rest of my life, but I never thought that she would come back and suddenly appear in my apartment. She was holding the KFC family bucket and looking at me with a cute look. This was my first time seeing Luo Qingchun like this, and my heart skipped a beat. She was completely different from her normal self. She didn't have the word cold at all. I didn't know what happened when she went abroad, but I knew that she was very cute. I really wanted someone to tightly hug her. When she was preparing to go to school, I thought that she would enter a class and I would be able to take care of her. I wanted her to see how popular I was, to let her see how dazzling I was. After all, the only person she knew in this school was me. But I never thought that she would meet the school hunk on the same level as me. Su Mu on the first day of school. I didn't know much about this person. He didn't have a girlfriend and was very proud. His family background could only be considered normal in my eyes, but he was very cold. I never thought that she would become Sue Moo's desk mate on the first day of school. Please, didn't this person never need a desk mate? If the most regretful thing in my life was that when she was bullied for the first time at school, I wasn't the one standing by her side. So angry, but I still acted very angry. When I took her hand, there was only one thought in my mind. I felt that she was mine and could only be mine. I was this kind of stubborn youth, but she didn't seem angry at me. If I went too far before, she would definitely be angry. I feel that it was from then on. I felt that there were stars in her eyes, a very bright feeling. Later, someone bullied him. The moment I rushed to the rooftop, I felt my fingertips tremble. I didn't know what would have happened to me if I hadn't caught her in time. I didn't even know if I had a reason to live. Fortunately, everything was in time. Fortunately, she was always by my side. When I hugged her, I felt so safe. I really liked hugging her. If I regretted not being on the same side as her the first time, then the confrontation in front of the cafeteria was definitely a second chance given to me by the heavens. This time, Sue Moo stood on the other side, and I could finally stand firmly by her side. But I never thought that she would really say those words in front of everyone. 10 words that made my heart almost stop for a second. Because I'm Luo Qianzhi's girlfriend. I know I will remember these words for the rest of my life. After she said that, I couldn't wait any longer. I had originally wanted to appear when they were about to take action. But for the sake of those words, I couldn't wait any longer. I said that she wasn't my girlfriend. I said that she was my wife. Chapter 640. However, every story seemed to have twists and turns to be perfect. The sudden separation was unexpected, and the cause of this separation was actually my father. I didn't know why he changed the plane he was supposed to board and took a private helicopter to Country X. But I knew that my heart was very uneasy. Father had never hit or scolded me since I was young. In my eyes, he was like a god. But on the helicopter, he said to me, "I am not your father." Although she and I had discussed this answer before, when it came out of her father's mouth, she was shocked. My heart trembled. It was very deep. He said that I was the heir to the throne of Country X, and this was my responsibility. I could see the urgency in his eyes, and I knew I had no choice. But what I didn't expect was that he wanted me to stay in Country X forever and took away my emotional memories. Family, love, friendship. But what he never expected was that as long as there was Luo Qingshan in this world, it would be useless even if he took away all my subjective emotions. Even if I could only see what happened between us as a third party, I would still like her. There was no reason to like her. 3 years of forbearance, a plan that was like walking on thin ice. My father thought that I did all this because I had the old king's expectations and hot-bloodedness in my mind. Actually, he didn't know that no matter what kind of hope and hot-bloodedness, it was not as important as returning to her side. Although I didn't know if she would still wait for me. Although I didn't know if she would like someone else. But I can still do my best to complete my mission just so that I can return to her side in another way that shines with boundless brilliance. And after I succeeded, my father said to me, "Qing Chun is not good enough for you." I smiled. My smile was so contemptuous. Perhaps it was because of this sentence that I made all my decisions. In this world, only I was not good enough for her. There would never be a time when she was not good enough for me. I wanted to return home regardless of everything. When I walked backstage where Feng Xiao was, I was actually nervous. I knew that Feng Xiao was also very excited. But it was fine when he saw me as a ghost. On that dazzling stage, she sat in the corner with a warm light shining down on her head. Her fingertips danced quickly on the black and white keys. That was the first time I saw her play. It was so pleasant to listen to, and it tugged at one's heartstrings. That's right. In this world, she is probably the only one who can tug at my heartstrings. Finally, at the last bar, the light above my head shone down, and the curtains slowly rose. I finally shone brightly in front of her for once. Every time I sang the lyrics, I wanted to speak to her. That year, it was snowing heavily. That year, we would never forget each other. But when she hugged me and wailed, I suddenly felt a pang of heartache. If my radiance would make her cry, then I would rather have nothing. In my world, it's fine as long as she's happy. I will protect her for a long, long time. Just like I didn't hesitate to enter Enoch's class again. When I stood on the podium, it was as if I had returned to the first year of high school, when I had transferred from Class A to Class B. She continued to stare at me blankly while I continued to stare at her affectionately. This was probably the kind of happiness I wanted, and having her was enough. It was as if the rings of time had never left, and I was still by your side. People came and went around, and this time I could finally announce it in front of everyone. Chapter 641. Ding ding dang, ding ding dang, ding ding dang. It was the annual small theater, and there were many questions about the male lead's feelings for the female lead. Because all the worlds were based on the female lead, it was very hard to see into the male lead's heart, especially the handsome male lead, like our Highness Qianjia. Welcome, Your Highness Qianjia. Applause. All right. The system could never understand a black-bellied and proud man. Then let's directly enter the 10 questions. First question, what did you feel when you saw her appear in front of you with a family bucket? This is the first time I've seen her this cute since I was born. Second question, why did you take her card? Because I will earn money to support her in the future. She can eat and play all over the world with my card. So domineering. The system also wants a domineering little brother. In your dreams. The system was so angry, so angry, so angry. Third question, when Su Yin Yin pretended to be weak, if Su Mu didn't appear, what would you have done? I would have pulled her into my embrace and announced to everyone that Luo Qingshan was my little sister and no one could bully her. What's Su Yin Yin? I don't know her. Handsome. Arrived. Exploded. Fourth question, when were you the most afraid? The rooftop. I really went all out to kick that door, afraid that I couldn't save her. You still use your methods to take care of those people who bullied her. Nonsense. No one in this world can bully her. No one can. Fifth question, when were you the happiest? She said that she was my girlfriend. I never thought that I would hear this from her mouth. I didn't even dare dream about it. The system also felt that the host was handsome back then. Of course, there was also the system's contribution. After all, this was a Taekwondo skill that the system exchanged for. Of course, my wife is handsome. Actually, the system didn't deliberately give the little fairy dog food. Sixth question, how did you survive those years in X country? Actually, it was very difficult, especially in the dead of the night. The feeling of longing in his heart surged into his mind like a tide. I can only make myself very tired every day. That way, I can only fall asleep. However, it doesn't seem to be of much use. What? Because she's still in my dreams. Seventh question, what's the first thing you want to do after returning to China? Beat up Jiang Yijuan, because he dared to seduce my wife. Don't think that I don't know what he did when I wasn't around. And that Su Mu, he went to the same university as my wife. Everyone knows Sima Zhao's intentions. The system has deeply felt the aura of rage. It's under a face. Eighth question, was the proposal ceremony prepared in advance? After I returned to the country, I asked my subordinates to do it. When I returned to the apartment, I found that she had been living here all this time. Even though this place is quite a distance away from the university, she has always been. Ninth question, I heard that you flew from S city to X country in 72 hours and flew back from X country. What did you do there? Announced the abdication. So careless. 10th question, do you have anything you want to say to her? You're older than me by 7 days, and I've called you sister for 7 years. Then for the rest of your life, please call me husband. Chapter 642. She didn't know how she came back, but after Luo Qianjia's heart stopped, she fell asleep in a daze. When she opened her eyes, she was on the princess bed in the chaos space. It really was a warm world. Her lips couldn't help curling into a smile as long as she thought about it. Having this kind of Luo Qianjia's world was a kind of happiness. Does the host need a rest? You can rest for 5 minutes. Why can I only rest for 5 minutes? Because the host is happy. You don't need to sleep when you're happy. Are you crazy? If you're crazy, you need to kill yourself. Luo Qingshan rolled her eyes. Then I won't sleep? I'm not sleepy anyway. The following is a summary of the mission. Host, please properly look over it. Name, Luo Qingshan World. So what if you're my big sister? Mission completion rate, 100%. There's currently one item in the EXP dimensional storage. iPhone 999. Exchange points. 12,400, 1,000 deducted from the last world. Base points. 100. The host's 13th mission panel is below. Appearance, physical strength, intelligence, figure, etc. Luo Qingshun was stunned when she saw the panel. She gave 2 cold laughs. What is this 22 intelligence? Don't tell me that her intelligence was 180 in the last world. She was a fool in this world. Yes. Damn. Your meaning is that my intelligence is also very low. Luo Qingshun said that she had inherited the previous host's intelligence in the last world. Then, in this world, yes. I want to use the base points. She patted her chest as she said this. This was a free gift from her novice gift pack, and she was always reluctant to use it. Taking it out and using it this time was like losing a piece of meat. How many points does the host want to add to intelligence? 60. Luo Qingshun thought about it before saying, how much is an IQ of 82? 150. Luo Qingshun thought about it before saying, that's enough. I'll use the remaining 40 next time if there's a situation like this. Bronze mirror rewrite. Intelligence. After that, the bronze mirror changed. Mission grade, B. Experience gained, 500. Exchange points gained, 5,000. Female lead. Luo Qingshun male lead. Lu Shifeng supporting female lead. Gu Yara supporting male lead. Wang Zihong mission content. Return to 3 months before the female lead died and obtain the love of the male lead Lu Shifeng. Side mission. Become an employee of the Lu group and successfully win the 3rd prize at the annual meeting. Luo Qingshun looked at the bronze mirror in a daze as she said, winning the 3rd prize at the banquet? Are you sure you're not kidding me? Host, please focus on completing the side mission. Otherwise, not only will you not be able to obtain any experience points, they will also be deducted. Memory is being imported. Please accept. After receiving all the memories, Luo Qingshun said that Lu Shifeng was completely unrelated to the previous host. The host was the only daughter of the Luo family, one of the 4 big families in a city. She also had an elder brother. Her brother was a madman who spoiled his sister. He was very protective of the original owner. If one had to talk about the tragedy of the original owner's life, it was definitely related to his fiancée, Wang Zihang. Because the Luo family was particularly powerful in City A, the Wang family needed the support of the Luo family to be successful in the business circle. Chapter 643. How could a prince like Wang Zihang be willing to marry a fool? But because the Wang family and the Luo family's cooperation was already in progress, they were already engaged. If Wang Zihang didn't have a good reason to break off the engagement with the previous host, then the cooperation would be stopped midway. It had to be known that for this cooperation, Wang Duan had put in a lot of money. 3/4 of the family's wealth had been invested. But facing the fool previous host, if he didn't quickly think of a way, his life would be ruined. At this time, Wang Zihang's maid Guyaru thought of an excellent method. Guyaru had entered the Wang family as a maid 3 years ago. A poor but arrogant girl who endured and stood out from the other maids in the Wang family step by step, walking into Wang Zihang's line of sight. If this story was watched from the perspective of the supporting female lead, how inspiring and heartbreaking it would be. The strong Mary Sue female lead directly attacked the dark forces of the fool's daughter and took down the prince in one fell swoop. But the helpless thing was that the protagonist of this story was the fool previous host. The previous host probably didn't like Wang Zihang. After all, even a fool wouldn't know what love was. She had only seen Guyaru a few times, so she didn't have much of an impression of her. After all, the previous host's brain was small, and she couldn't remember anything about her daily life. So how could she remember Guyaru? But she didn't know that just because she didn't remember Guyaru, it didn't mean Guyaru didn't remember her. In order to get a complete Wang Zihang, Guyaru had to do something before the female lead and Wang Zihang got married. This idea happened to coincide with Wang Zihang's. It was a grand cruise, and those who could get a ticket were either rich or respectable. A city's 4 great families were all present, and the previous host was naturally among them. But what she didn't know was that this cruise party was actually a trap. Wang Zihang had put aphrodisiac in the previous host's drink. After helping the female lead back to her room, he had arranged for someone to knock on the female lead's door. At this time, the female lead was under the influence of the aphrodisiac and didn't know what day it was. Seeing a man, she threw herself at him. When a man saw that the previous host was a beauty and was so open, his heart bloomed with joy. After all, he was in his 30s, and he had enjoyed such a luxurious cruise, such a beauty, such. Hee. But all of this was captured by Wang Zihang's pinhole camera in the room. Early the next morning, those lewd photos went viral on the internet. Suddenly, the Luo family became a joke in the circle. Wang Zihang deliberately said in an awkward voice, "Even so, I still have to take responsibility for Qing Chun." But after he said this sentence, he lowered his head and had a beautiful smile on his face. Luo Lin was a male chauvinist. Although he loved his daughter dearly, he couldn't let someone else take over. In the end, the marriage, but the Luo family's business, the business. The original owner's brother was not reconciled and sent someone to investigate what happened on the cruise ship. Finally, he found the truth in the layers of fog. When he was on the way to find Wang Zihang to avenge his sister, he got into a car accident. After the original owner found out about her brother's death, her brain, which was originally flawed, had a stroke. She was bedridden for more than a month, and in the end, she couldn't be saved. Luo Lin lost his only 2 children in a short period of time and was heartbroken. Since then, the Luo family began to decline. In the end, the Wang family replaced the Luo family and became one of the city's 4 great families. Chapter 644. After receiving all the memories, Luo Qingchen frowned. The scene in front of her made her heart tremble. Qing, is this colorful kiwi tasty? Wang Zihang was wearing an elegant blue and white evening suit. The corner of his mouth raised a frightening smile. My God, I really admire the system. 3 months ago, it was on this luxury cruise ship. Yes, host. Luo Qingchen looked at the drink in front of her that had been drunk. Her face changed, only to feel the blood in her body began to boil. Wang Zihang saw her white cheeks covered with a touch of crimson, his eyes filled with a touch of depth. He said, "How about I accompany you back to the room to rest?" Their family's Yaru was really smart, unexpectedly thought of this way, to force Luo family to break off the engagement. As long as after tonight, she would be defiled, he and this fool would no longer have anything to do with each other. She frowned, took a deep breath, raised her cold eyes, and said, "No need." Wang Zihang was stunned, unconsciously felt a touch of cold air lingering around him. The Luo Qingchen in front of him seemed to have changed into a different person, as if one look could completely see through his inner thoughts. He still wanted to say something, but found that Luo Qingchen had disappeared into the crowd. Damn it, he cursed in a low voice, hurriedly picked up the phone in his hand and dialed. "You go to room 3012 and wait. The beauty will be there soon. The drug has been used. Tonight you can play." After explaining clearly, he hung up the phone, raised his eyebrows, and muttered, deliberately playing with lousy. "Later let me see how the fool calls out in bed." Luo Qingchen took a glass of iced mineral water from the table and walked towards the room. Before entering the door, she saw someone standing outside her room at the corner of the corridor. The man's upper body was naked. His body was full of white and tender fat, making people who saw it couldn't help but feel nauseous. But because the drug was too strong, she was afraid that she couldn't control the fat, so she could only stop. At this time, her forehead was covered with sweat, and her fingertips could not stop trembling. She closed her eyes and looked at the room 3009 in front of her. The light of the room was on. She suddenly turned around. The room 3008 behind her was dark. The mineral water in her hand gradually became hot, tightly held in her hand, the slender fingertips deeply into the flesh. Just as her mind was a little confused, the next second, the door of room 3008 behind her was opened. Luo Qingchen's eyes, slightly raised, quickly took off the bracelet in her hand. and stuck it on the edge of the door. The person who walked out of room 3008 was a blonde woman. She had a very strange smell on her body. Luo Qing-chun took a sniff and felt her blood boil even more. "Are you Plan B?" she sent. The blonde woman adjusted the 2 lumps of meat on her chest and touched her curly blonde hair. She sneered and said, "Don't waste your time. This man is impossible." Luo Qing-chun covered her mouth as she looked at her in a daze. The blonde woman didn't seem to care. She swayed her butt and walked away. She was thinking about whether to go in or leave when Wang Zihong's voice sounded not far away. "Why are you still here?" He seemed to be talking to the fat man. His tone was a little angry. Luo Qing-chun frowned. Without thinking much, she went into room 3008's door. The moment she came in, she regretted. It turned out that the blonde woman's smell was the smell of this room. Chapter 645. "What? You still don't want to give up?" A magnetic voice rang out in the silent room. Every word was like a beautiful note. It made people's hearts tremble, and they couldn't help but have wild thoughts. At this moment, Luo Qing-chun felt even more thirsty, and there was an unbearable heat all over her body. Like a heat wave, it hit her brain wave after wave. She didn't reply, but unscrewed the bottle of mineral water and drank 2 mouthfuls. Only the sound of her drinking water could be heard in the silent room. The man's eyes slightly raised, and Li Guang flashed in his black eyes. Just as he was about to turn on the light, the girl's clear voice slowly sounded, "Don't turn on the light." Luo Qing-chun threw away the bottle, took a deep breath, and walked towards the window. When the cold wind blew on her face, it made her restrain herself even more. "So you and that blonde girl, don't talk." Luo Qing-chun bit her lips, and her voice was slightly hoarse. She closed her eyes, and she couldn't stand her voice. The man's eyebrows trembled, and he chuckled. "She even used this method to challenge my bottom line?" If he didn't understand at first, he understood a thing or two after hearing her voice. Her body was hot, and she kept drinking water, wanting to feel the cold wind. She must have used some kind of drug in this situation. It seemed that some people were really unscrupulous in order to achieve their goals. "I told you not to talk." Luo Qing-chun was a bit anxious, and her breathing kept quickening. Every time the man spoke, he could completely destroy the reason she had desperately built up. "Miss, you might not know." He paused and said, "This is my room." In the next second, Luo Qing-chun rushed forward without saying anything and pushed him down. The man didn't seem to react, and he was about to push her away. Her lips had already accurately kissed his thin lips. Her actions were smooth, and there was no pause at all. The man's deep eyes narrowed, and his heartbeat unconsciously sped up at this moment. This was the first time she had been kissed by someone, and this was the first time she had such a wonderful feeling. For some reason, the moment he was kissed by the girl in front of him, his hands, which had wanted to push her away, unconsciously tightened around her waist. The aphrodisiac in the air that had no effect on him at all was like a magic drug at this moment, fermenting rapidly. In an instant, he turned around and pressed her under his body. However, their lips never left each other from start to finish. Luo Qing-chun only felt that her head was about to explode. She felt that as long as she kissed the other party, she could go from hell to heaven. The man's slender fingers leaned against the window and unbuttoned his shirt one by one. The perfect figure was naked in front of the eyes. The next second, Luo Qing-chun grabbed his collar, flipped him over, and pressed him down again. Her cold fingertips caressed his handsome features and thin lips. The corners of her mouth curled up into an enchanting smile, and her eyes glowed faintly. The man was startled, and the bright moonlight outside the window was accompanied by the shallow sea breeze. Her jelly-like cherry lips were slightly parted, teasing his heart inch by inch. In an instant, he pressed the back of her head and kissed her lips again. At this moment, Luo Qing-chun's head was half sober. Chapter 646. The man's eyes flashed with a trace of displeasure. She was clearly at the climax, but she could actually let go of him just like that. "You?" Luo Qing-chun still wanted to say something, but found that her voice had a touch of coquettishness. The other party chuckled, and the light in his eyes deepened. He looked at her and said, I think it's better if you don't talk, Luo Qingshun said in her heart. That's reasonable. The next second, she slowly walked to the side of the window. Where her right hand held the table, she touched a knife. She bit her lip, and her eyes were cold. The man could vaguely see her hand shake, and the blade flashed against the moonlight. What? Do you want to kill me? He chuckled, and his eyes were full of probing. The next moment, Luo Qingshun didn't think, and the knife directly cut her arm. The pain transmitted to her nerves, and the smell of blood filled the strong aphrodisiac. The room became silent. She closed her eyes, and all the messy scenes suddenly disappeared at this moment. But the scene just now, like a nightmare, lingered in her mind. What to do? It seemed like she did something bad to a stranger. If she was a man, would she have been sentenced to asterisk, 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 that? She cleared her throat, and her voice returned to normal. She pretended to be calm and said, "This is a not very beautiful accident. This really couldn't be blamed on her. This was definitely the system didn't like her, and the time to come to this plane was not right." Oh, the man raised his eyebrows, and his eyes were as deep as the stars. The corner of his mouth outlined a beautiful arc and said, "This young lady is planning to turn around and leave after eating everything." She really didn't seem like a woman that someone would choose. After all, that person's taste was really bad. Looking at the blood dripping from her arm, he couldn't help but frown. There was a faint, strange feeling in his heart. He didn't like this feeling very much. Wait, Luo Qingshun heard this, and her eyes blinked. This gentleman, isn't the use of the word eat everything a bit too much? She didn't seem to have done anything. Will it? He slowly buttoned his shirt and said, "So this young lady is sure she won't be responsible?" Ah, Luo Qingshun was stunned. She looked at the figure in the dark and blurted out, "Yes, I won't take responsibility." After saying that, she dug in her skirt pocket and took out 10 yuan. Then, she dug around and took out 3 yuan. She put 30 yuan on the table and said, "I only have this much. Take it or leave it." Heavens! She couldn't help but curse in her heart. Wasn't the original owner a rich young miss? How little money do you have? And coins? TSK, TSK. She really couldn't understand the brain circuits of an idiot. A certain someone narrowed his eyes. Hearing the sound of coins, the smile on his lips grew wider. "So how many people want to buy this night?" 1 billion. 1 billion. Luo Qingshun's lips curled into a cold smile. "In your dreams. 30 yuan. I don't have any more." She originally felt a bit embarrassed, but when the other party said the word 1 billion, her embarrassment instantly disappeared. "Ha!" The man in the dark laughed lightly and said, 30 yuan for a night. Young lady, do you think this is the Scarlet District? Even the Scarlet District doesn't have this price." He was the richest man in a city, and his price was 30 yuan for a night. This could really go down in the annals of his life. Chapter 647. She felt her face turn red after saying this, as if she was a bit embarrassed. Actually, she was too nervous since this was her first time using this drug and experiencing this kind of thing. The other party's deep eyes narrowed slightly. At this moment, his heart was surging like a raging wave. Failed? Was this girl crazy? After that, his lips curled into a dangerous smile as he walked towards her step by step. "Are you certain that you failed?" Luo Qingshun saw a figure slowly walking towards her and quickly gestured with her hands. "If you come any closer, I'll jump from the sea. I'll jump down." She really wasn't joking. Her heart was filled with panic right now. He didn't stop because of what she said and kept walking toward her. Luo Qingshun gritted her teeth as she thought, "I don't care." In an instant, Luo Qingshun used her strong body to jump over the window and directly jumped down. "I didn't say that you would leave." "Hey!" In an instant, the man felt his heart skip a beat. He reached out to grab her, but he only grabbed a large red scarf. The sea breeze blew across his face, and his calm, as water heart was filled with wave for the first time. He narrowed his cold eyes and quickly walked out, heading to the control room of the luxurious cruise ship. Luo Qingshun exchanged for teleportation when she jumped down and used the previous host's memories to move to her room. Ding! 500 exchange points has been taken. Successfully exchanged for teleportation. It was a light blue Mediterranean-style room with a faint lavender fragrance. There was no one at home. They should have all gone to the banquet. So close. Luo Qingshun patted her chest as she said to herself, "Something almost happened." The host was so nervous, your heart was beating fast. Nonsense. You didn't come out to help me or give me an antidote. This kind of medicine, the system doesn't have it. Humph. Let me ask you, the male lead doesn't have any impression of the previous host, so the affection should be 0%, right? It's 10%. Why does the male lead know the previous host? Didn't the host just see the male lead? Moreover, it was a very domineering cabinet. What? WTF? Why didn't you say so earlier? Why is the system so bad every time? Then I shouldn't have been afraid just now. Since he had already accomplished what he had never done, this mission might just be over. Luo Qingshun shook her head hard. She decided to take a shower and sleep first. But she didn't say anything, just as she was sleeping soundly. The ACC luxury cruise ship had docked at the nearest sea area. The reason was to help boss Lu find a person. His name was unknown, his appearance was unknown, and everything about him was unknown. There was only a bright red scarf with a faint lavender scent. Lu Shifeng was standing on the deck with a row of staff standing beside him. "Young master, Lu wants to know if you know the owner of this scarf." Everyone looked at each other. One of them blinked and said, "This scarf seems to be mine." "Well, I think I have one too. This should be mine. I just happened to pass by the third-floor cabin." Lu Shifeng narrowed his cold eyes and slowly said in an ice-cold voice, "The owner of this scarf has already jumped into the sea." Hiss! Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air, and no one said a word. Luo Chiemo, standing on the deck, looked at the red scarf and tightly knit his brows. Chapter 648. Who is it who is knocking on my window? Who is it? Luo Qingshun was stunned by her phone ringing. She picked it up while wiping her hair. "Big brother? Little sister?" Luo Chiemo spoke in an uncertain voice, but he let out a sigh of relief. "You scared your big brother to death. Someone said that you jumped into the sea." Hee hee. Luo Qingshun's lips curled into an awkward smile as she said in a serious voice, "Rumors stop with the wise." "Chat, stop it, hee hee." Luo Chiemo rolled his eyes. "It's good that you're fine. Do you want me to come find you?" "No, no, no." Luo Qingshun quickly shook her head. "Big brother, I'm already asleep. Good night." Immediately hanging up, she let out a long sigh of relief. The first thing to do was to change the ringtone. My God, just how nostalgic is the female lead. Although this song was very good, it didn't suit her. After setting the ringtone, she lay down on her large bed. Closing her eyes, she was so sleepy that she didn't have any dreams. When she opened her eyes, it was already the next morning. Because the cruise ship had docked early, the party had ended early. Anyway, these things were for rich people to pass time, so everyone didn't care. But that man named Lu Shifeng didn't think this way. "Director Lu, this is the list of people on the cruise ship." Lin Yu gave it to him as he said, "Everyone has been confirmed. There isn't a single person missing." Lu Shifeng took the list, and a trace of doubt appeared in his eyes. "It shouldn't be like this. There are a few people on the list who aren't in the circle. Do you need to check?" Lu Shifeng wanted to say that there was no need, but she seemed to have been schemed against. So he changed his words, "Check everything." "Yes." "Also, what other orders does Director Lu have?" "Inform everyone on the list that I will be holding a banquet at the Royal Venice Hotel. If the people in the circle give this Lu face, they will definitely come." He narrowed his eyes as a sparkle appeared in his deep eyes. Lu always wants to. That girl doesn't give me a completely unfamiliar feeling. His dark eyes looked at the list in his hand, and he slightly knit his brows. "Just who are you?" When Luo Qingshun received the invitation list for the banquet of Lu's group, she was terrified, she was a little embarrassed, a little shy, and a little scared. But he had to go. "Knock, knock, knock, come in." Luo Chiemo came in with a cup of hot milk and said, "Sister, drinking milk will make you smarter." Then you'd better drink it yourself, she said as she typed quickly on her laptop. Luo Chiemo was obviously stunned. He looked at her incredulously and said, "Sister, when did you learn to play with a laptop?" "Big brother, what kind of personality is Lu Shifeng?" Luo Qingshun suddenly raised her eyes and rested her chin on one hand. "There's so little information on Baidu. Is that why he's keeping a low profile?" "Sister," Luo Chi-mo swallowed his saliva, looked her up and down, and said, "How can you speak so fluently?" In the past, her younger sister would only speak a few words intermittently, as if every sentence was pieced together word by word. Her doctor had said that it was because her intelligence was too low. Her brain's processing ability was very slow, so she had to think word by word before she could say it out loud. Chapter 649. Luo Chiemo looked at Luo Qingshan seriously and asked in a trembling voice, "Are you really my sister?" Luo Qingshan gave him a cold look. "It seems like it isn't." Looking at Luo Chiemo in front of her, Luo Qingshan had to conclude a general phenomenon. That was, the intelligence of the two children of the original host was not high. 3 days later, at the Royal Hotel in Venice, Luo Qingshan spent 3 days to change herself from head to toe. Although she only changed her hairstyle and clothes, at least she was worthy of this good-looking person. The original host was really beautiful, the kind of beauty as pure as water. But because of her low IQ, she didn't take care of herself seriously, so she didn't show her beauty. She used to have waist-length hair with a big parting in the middle, which was almost the same as Sadako's. Her favorite color seemed to be green because most of the clothes in the whole wardrobe were green. Luo Qingshan didn't make any big changes. Her long hair was cut to the shawl and slightly curled. The light air bangs brought a touch of youth. As for clothes, she rushed to make a princess evening dress overnight. She was wearing a pink dress and a white shawl. It was indeed a unique and beautiful sight. After all, since Wang Zihong was so cruel to her, why not make some trouble at this banquet? She didn't dare to call herself an expert when it came to clothes. But at least compared with the original host, she should be good. At least when Luo Chi-mo saw her coming down the stairs, his eyes almost fell out. "Sister," Luo Chi-mo said with a smile, "you will make Wang Zihong fall for your pomegranate skirt." "No, princess skirt." He had heard that Wang Zihong was with his sister because of the power of the Luo family. He also despised her in front of many friends for being a fool. He also said she was ugly. Really? Had his eyes been hit by a car? "Brother, it's a pity." Luo Qingshan chuckled and took his wrist. "I don't like him." Royal Hotel in Venice. Each car parked at the door cost at least $1 million. This was a banquet for rich people. The people who came to this banquet didn't come to eat and drink, but rather to catch a big fish. In the eyes of many families in a city, the Lu family's Lu Shifeng was the biggest fish. Because Wang Zihong had been decisively rejected when he invited Luo Qingshan, he could only reluctantly invite one of the city's 4 families, Han Xier. As for Guyaru, if it wasn't for Wang Zihong bringing her as a young master, she wouldn't be able to come to this banquet. Actually, what Wang Zihong didn't know was that Guyar didn't follow him just because she wanted to be with him. She must have a plan B. In addition to Wang Zihong, if other young masters were willing to fight for her, wouldn't that would gain both fame and that? She loved this feeling the most, the feeling of having a bunch of men around her. Luo Qingshan came to the banquet hall holding Luo Qimo's hand and saw Wang Zihong not far away when they came in. He seemed to be whispering something to Guyaru, and Han Xier on the side didn't have a good look on her face. The young miss always had a temper. Since Wang Zihong had invited her to be his female companion, he shouldn't be whispering to a servant. So he left her to the side. Chapter 650. She thought that her identity as the absolute heroine had attracted the attention of the 3 women. Yes, she thought that Luo Qingshan cared a lot. But when she carefully looked at Luo Qingshan's dress today, there was a raging fire burning in her heart. Not only her, but even Wang Zihong was stunned, and the champagne in his hand was almost unclenched. He looked at the Luo Qingshan in front of him, who seemed to have been reborn. Under the light makeup, her pair of bright eyes were stunning. She smiled lightly. and her eyes swept quickly in their direction without stopping for a moment. "Young master, Miss Luo is here. Don't you want to say hello?" Guyaru gritted her teeth and tentatively said this sentence. At the same time, she did not forget to look at Han Xian next to her. She should be good at drawing hatred, because Han Xian was in a bad mood. If she heard such words again, she would probably explode on the spot. Sure enough, Han Xian's face turned blue, and she said coldly, "Young Master Wang, I won't disturb you and your silly fiancé." As soon as the voice fell, Han Xian snorted and turned to walk towards the center of the banquet. In fact, she was just proud. After all, she did not allow others to take away her things. But when it came to Wang Zihong, Han Xian really didn't care. Wang Zihong was not one of the 4 big families in the city. He was just a little famous in the noble circle. In addition, his face was not bad, so he had the capital to ask her out. But as long as Han Xian thought of him being engaged to a fool, she felt her stomach churn. Disgusting, then I'll go and say hello. At this moment, Wang Zihong's heart throbbed slightly. After all, he had never seen Luo Qingqian dressed so delicately. Perhaps as long as she was not happy to talk and stood quietly beside him, her quiet and lovely appearance would attract many people's attention. "Brother Imo, Qing." Wang Zihong bloomed a gentle smile and said to Luo Qingqian, "It turns out that you didn't accept my invitation because you wanted to be Brother Mo's female companion. I thought you didn't want me anymore." In the past, as long as he spoke to her so gently, she would rush over like a dog seeing a bone. Although she was a fool, she was dressed up so beautifully today. At least it would make him look better. If the cruise ship didn't succeed and the Luo family became suspicious, he would be in trouble. Wang Zihong's voice was a bit feminine to begin with. Now that he was deliberately speaking, it was not only unbearable to the ears. "Your assumption is very correct." She narrowed her eyes and glanced at his face. She didn't stop for long and walked straight ahead. At this moment, Wang Zihong was stunned. Even Guyaru, who was standing not far away, was stunned. Was that person Luo Qingqian? How could this be? Luo Qiimo, who was standing beside her, blinked and said, "Sister, you don't like Wang Zihong anymore." "I have a good eye." Luo Qingqian's sparkling eyes stopped at a familiar face, and she asked back with a chuckle, "Who is the person all the girls in this banquet hall want to marry the most?" Luo Qiimo heard this and narrowed his eyes. He fixed his tie as he looked at her with a look of joy. But when he saw her "you must tell the truth" expression, Luo Qiimo helplessly spread his hands and said, "Is there a need to say it? Not to mention this banquet hall. The person all the young misses in a city want to marry the most is Lu Shifeng." Chapter 651. What Luo Qingqian didn't know was that at this moment, the man who was the focus of the banquet was also looking in her direction. At the same time, Wang Zihong, who was stunned by Luo Qingqian's words, suddenly came back to his senses. He looked at Luo Qingqian's back and felt that it was so strange. Guyaru also came up at this time and stood beside him, asking, "What's wrong with you?" "I think Luo Qingqian is different today." Wang Zihong frowned and seemed to feel a little lost in his heart. In the past, it was always him who teased this fool. Why did he feel that he was teased by her today? Guyaru pretended to be unhappy and pouted. "I think you just think she looks beautiful today. So you said that, right?" Although she was only a maid of the Wang family, she knew that in Wang Zihong's heart, she was much more important than that fool. Naturally, she also knew that Wang Zihong and that fool were engaged for the benefit of the family. It was because of this that she even thought of a way to break off the engagement. But she didn't succeed. "Yaru, I just feel that Luo Qingqian is very strange today." Wang Zihong took advantage of the fact that Luo Qiimo was not by her side and walked in her direction. She was holding a glass of blue enchantress champagne cocktail in her hand, and there was a touch of Li Guang in her eyes. Guyaru saw Wang Zihong walking towards Luo Qingqian in front of her, and her heart was filled with dissatisfaction, so she followed him. "Qing." Wang Zihong patted her on the shoulder gently and said with a charming smile, "What do you want to drink? I can make it for you. Do you like all the drinks I made before?" Luo Qingqian heard the words and frowned. She quickly stepped back and looked at Wang Zihong coldly. Two things. Wang Zihong didn't seem to understand the meaning of the words Luo Qingshun for a moment and was really stunned. Is it because Miss Luo's reaction is slow? So, she said it simply? Guyaru's voice was very soft, as if she was explaining kindly. But when these words entered her ears, it was so uncomfortable. She naturally knew that she was mocking the original owner's words. You think you're qualified to talk to me? Luo Qingshun shook the cocktail in her hand and nodded slightly at Guyaru. Don't you know that you are the person with the lowest status in this banquet hall? You? Guyaru was instantly choked by her forceful words, her face turning slightly red. No. In the next second, Luo Qingshun said with a contemptuous smile, you have no value. After all, those who are worthy of the net worth must be at least 1,000,000 yuan. Guyaru felt as if she was about to suffocate at this very moment. Her lips trembled incessantly, but she was unable to say a single word to retaliate. Was the person in front of him really Luo Qingshun? In the past, when she scolded her tactfully, she would always smile foolishly. She was like a thick-skinned retard. Even if she was a rich young lady, she could only be bullied by her. But now, her every word was like a needle stabbing into her heart, steadily touching her pain. Every word hit her heart. That Wang Zihong was completely shocked by Luo Qingshun's aura. He was a bit nervous when he opened his mouth. Chapter 652. Her words were very soft, but everyone around them could hear it clearly. Everyone seemed to be looking at her with an inconceivable look. They couldn't believe that those words came from the mouth of that fool from the Luo family. The crowd was an incomparably powerful force. No matter where they went, they could form a rope. Isn't this the daughter of the Luo family? I heard. Keep your voice down. We can't afford to offend the Luo family. Wang Zihong said at the nightclub a few days ago that Luo Qingshun was obedient to him. Now it seems that it really can't be believed. You should listen to half of his words. For power, don't say it. He seems to have heard it. Wang Zihong felt completely ashamed at this moment, but he could only endure. The cooperation between the two families was still in progress. He couldn't offend Luo Qingshun at this time. He didn't know why Luo Qingshun suddenly became like this. Was it because she had memorized the words, or was her brain really enlightened? But even if she was pretending to be smart, he still had to endure it. Yo, isn't this Miss Luo? Han Qi'er, who had walked far away, saw that there was something interesting to watch and came over to watch. She gently hooked Wang Zihong's arm and said, Today I am Zihong's female companion. Miss Luo, don't insult him. As Han Qi'er spoke, she glanced at Guyaru with contempt. With the attitude of a winner, she was aloof. She naturally knew that her appearance at this time was Wang Zihong's savior. Let's see if he dared to talk to that garbage maid and ignore her in the future. Wang Zihong's expression turned a lot better. He looked at Luo Qingshun and said with a smile, Qingshun probably drank too much. Everyone don't watch. Girls can't drink well. Yo, this change of topic was quite good. Unfortunately, Luo Qingshun didn't seem to be affected by this. In the next second, she pursed her thin lips and sneered. You speak as if you know how much I can drink. Wang Zihong took a deep breath and said, Everyone knows our relationship very well. Qingshun, don't be difficult. When he said the last sentence, his tone was very serious. Luo Qingshun probably knew that he couldn't hold it in any longer. After all, Wang Zihong was a young master from a wealthy family. Even if he had a motive, he could not allow himself to be humiliated like this. When Luo Qingshun heard this, her eyes were filled with disdain as she said, I really don't know what kind of relationship we have. I'm your fiancé. Wang Zihong lowered his voice and looked at her. Don't force me. She had been a fool since she was young. Even if he had the backing of the Luo clan, what right did he have to be so arrogant? He had been mocked by so many people because of his family's interests. He had gotten engaged to a fool. She actually dared to say that she had nothing to do with him in front of so many people. Fiancé. The coldness in her eyes deepened. She looked at Wang Zihong in front of her and said word by word, Unfortunately, you can't match up to me. At this moment, everyone around them sucked in a breath of cold air. Wang Zihong firmly bit his lips. His eyes looked like they were about to spit out fire. For a moment, he finally couldn't help but yell at Luo Qingxin. "You're making me laugh to death. Really? You think that other than me, who would marry a fool like you? She should stop dreaming. Haha, who would marry her? I." In the next second, an extremely magnetic voice slowly sounded. It shocked the entire Royal Noble Hotel's banquet hall. Chapter 653. At that moment, everyone's eyes fell onto Lu Shifeng. He was wearing a dark blue suit with his hands in his pockets and a pair of bottomless dark eyes. "Lu, Director Lu." Wang Ziheng's temper disappeared when Lu Shifeng spoke. His eyes were filled with disbelief as his face turned pale with embarrassment. On the other hand, Luo Qingxun had a calm look as she watched Lu Shifeng walk toward her. His eyes were very deep, so deep that she couldn't see anything from them at all. There was only a faint shadow of herself. But only Luo Qingxun knew that her heart was incomparably nervous at this moment. There was a feeling of a victim slowly walking towards her. "Qingxun didn't tell you." Lu Shifeng stood beside her, and his slender hand took her white wrist. The moment he touched it, it was not soft skin, but a stringent gauze. Her hand trembled, and Lu Shifeng's hand softened, gently touching the gauze. Wang Ziheng, was a bit awkward, but he pretended to be calm as he said with a smile, "Thank you, Director Lu, for taking care of my fiancée. She's a bit slow sometimes, perhaps." Although Wang Ziheng had a flattering smile on the surface, he wasn't convinced in his heart. Even if Luo Qingxun was a fool, his Wang family and the Luo family's engagement party had already been held. Luo Qingxun was his fiancée, but now she was standing with another honorable man, looking at him with eyes of disdain. It was like there was a large stone in his heart that felt like it was about to explode. "Fiancé." Lu Shifeng's tone was the same as Luo Qingxun's. His eyes narrowed as his lips curled into a beautiful curve. "Why did I hear her say that you can't match her? You." It was these words again. Wang Ziheng hated these words the most. Why did everyone say these words to him? His family wasn't as good as the Luo family or the Lu family, but he was still someone with a net worth of millions. In the next second, Wang Zihong clenched his fists and said, "Boss Lu, are you trying to steal someone's beloved?" There was a bit of anger in his voice, but he knew that he couldn't explode in front of Lu Shifeng. He couldn't afford to offend the richest man in a city. "Love?" Lu Shifeng narrowed his cold eyes and softly said, "The luxurious cruise from 3 days ago. Did young Master Wang forget something?" In an instant, Wang Zihong's face turned pale. He looked into Lu Shifeng's determined eyes, and his heart skipped a beat. Could it be that the cruise ship docked at the coast that day because of this? At this moment, not to mention Wang Zihong, even Luo Qingxun was somewhat stunned. It turned out that the man standing beside her knew everything. Suddenly, a faint feeling of gratitude spread from the bottom of his heart. Although the onlookers were dumbfounded, they could feel the strong smell of gunpowder in the three's words. Han Xier, standing beside Wang Zihong, suddenly took 2 steps forward and looked at Lu Shifeng as she said, "So Director Lu's female companion today is young Miss Luo. It seems like we're breaking up a couple." Han Xier's words had many meanings, but there was only one goal in the end. It was to attract Lu Shifeng's attention. After all, he was such a perfect single man. When she stood beside Luo Qingxun, her heart was filled with dissatisfaction. Everyone said that the Luo family's young miss was a fool, but it seemed like the rumors were wrong. Chapter 654. She is not my partner. Lu Shifeng said with a faint smile, "From this day forth, she is my Lu Shifeng's fiancée." "Ah," Luo Qingxun said in a surprised voice. "What?" Wang Ziheng said in a surprised voice. "My God," Han Xier said in a surprised voice. "Zai, everyone said in a surprised voice. Luo Qingxun turned over and her large eyes looked at Lu Shifeng as her lashes trembled. Lu Shifeng slowly approached her and whispered in her ear, $11.30 really isn't enough." "Pooh!" Luo Qingqian's lips awkwardly twitched. As expected, he found out. Then the final goal of this banquet was to invite her into his trap. Director Lu, I feel that this kind of joke really can't be made. Wang Ziheng put his hand in his pocket and looked up at him. Luo Qingqian and I are officially engaged. Wang Ziheng. Luo Qingqian cut him off as her lips curled in disdain. Do you really think it's that hard to break the engagement? You. Wang Ziheng gritted his teeth and said, Are you burning the bridge after crossing the river? He was in a very awkward position right now. Luo Qingqian was openly cuckolding him, so he had to find a way to save his face. Could it be that this isn't what you're thinking? Lu Shifeng looked at the security guard behind him, and the security guard said something into the microphone on his chest before a man was brought in. Luo Qingqian narrowed her eyes as she looked at the man being brought in by the two security guards, as the memory of the cruise ship froze in her mind. That person was the man who had been waiting outside her room that day. Wang Ziheng's face turned green when he saw him. He was wondering why he couldn't contact him in the past 2 days. So, it's not my fault. It's all young Master Wang Ziheng. He had me go to young Miss Luo's room. He said that he had already drugged her. Before he could finish, Luo Qiamo had just come out of the bathroom. He charged forward when he heard this and threw a punch at Wang Ziheng's face. To think that I even said good things about you to my sister, you scum. Luo Qiamo gritted his teeth and said, Don't let me see you again. Otherwise, I will beat you every time I see you. Wang Zihong was beaten to the ground in an instant, his face bruised. Gu Yaru, who was beside her, hurriedly went forward to support her. She said with a sobbing tone, How can you rich people be like this? This is all one-sided. How can you hurt someone without any evidence? There were 2 reasons why Gu Yaru stepped forward. First, she wanted to let the rich young master notice her existence. Second, she wanted to prevent Wang Zihong from selling her out in order to protect himself. After all, she was the one who came up with this idea. Now that she had stepped forward to protect him, he wouldn't be so shameless as to expose her. The cruise ship has surveillance cameras. It's too easy to get evidence. Lu Shifeng gave a cold snort as a deep look appeared in his eyes. When he found out that she was drugged by her so-called fiancé that night, the little devil in his heart slowly emerged. He used his own methods to quickly find the so-called executor and waited for this moment to reveal everything. Don't say it. Wang Ziheng staggered to his feet and said through gritted teeth, If Director Lu likes her, you can tell me. There's no need to use all these methods. He didn't say anything else. He just made a final struggle before leaving with a dejected look on his face. Chapter 655. After the banquet at the Venice Royal Hotel, the entire rich circle knew that Luo Qingqian was the girl that Lu Shifeng liked. Luo Lin's mood was very good. Since he knew that Wang Ziheng was using his daughter, he immediately stopped cooperating with the Wang family. So what if there was a deficit? It was just a drop in the ocean for his Luo family, but it was half of the Wang family's wealth. As for the engagement, Lu Shifeng moved very quickly, coming to visit the next day. Director Lu. Luo Lin personally came to greet this guest. Luo Qingqian was still sleeping upstairs. Uncle doesn't need to be this polite. Lu Shifeng slightly bent over. His movements were elegant and polite, making every parent unable to stop themselves from liking him. Quickly wake the young miss up. She's still sleeping at this time. Luo Lin said in a serious voice to Xiao Chun behind him. It's fine, uncle. Lu Shifeng said with a faint smile. I came looking for you. In less than 5 minutes, Luo Lin had completely sold out his daughter. Then he received a call about a business conference. He said to Lu Shifeng in an embarrassed voice, Sorry, Director Lu. I'm afraid I have to go out for business matters. Uncle calling me Director Lu is too polite. Lu Shifeng said with a polite smile. You can just call me Shifeng. Luo Lin gave a very happy nod. My daughter is blessed. He turned to Xiao Chun and said, Bring young Master Lu around and take care of him. Uncle, take care. Lu Shifeng's eyes sunk, but he didn't have any intention of leaving. Although he knew that she was still sleeping, he still wanted to see her. He just wanted to see her. Lu Shifeng took advantage of Xiao Chun pouring water to head upstairs. Finally, he stopped at a room at the end of the third floor. The door wasn't locked. He knocked on it like a gentleman, and there was a lazy voice that came from inside. "Come in." The Mediterranean-style room was filled with a faint lavender scent. Luo Qingxuan was wearing a pink hello. Kitty had a face mask on and a toothbrush in her mouth. There was a large bow on her head. "Xiao Chanyu." In the next second, the toothbrush fell to the ground. Her world seemed to have frozen at this moment. Lu Shifeng was wearing a light blue sweater, and his usual bangs were thrown to the side. The way he put his hands in his pockets gave off a youthful vibe. The corners of his lips curled up slightly, and his eyes were filled with warmth. "Ah!" A deafening scream resounded throughout the Luo clan's mansion. Her first reaction was to charge in front of Lu Shifeng and use all her strength to push him towards the door. What was going on? Why didn't Lu Shifeng inform her ahead of time? Didn't they exchange numbers? He could have told her if he wanted to come to her house. Her heart was very weak. Okay, don't scare her like this. No, the situation just now would make any girl blush and want to find a hole to hide in. 10 minutes later, she opened the door again. Lu Shifeng was leaning against the wall on the side. She first looked to the left, but there was no one. She looked to the right and met his deep eyes. He looked at Luo Qingxuan, who had finished dressing, and his eyes were filled with a faint gentleness. He slowly said in a magnetic voice, "I still feel that you were quite cute just now." "You." Her face instantly turned red in embarrassment. "What are you doing here? Propose?" He said with a soft laugh. "After all, in my eyes, you have to take responsibility for your failure." Chapter 656. Luo Qingxuan awkwardly knit her brows and said, "I didn't know it was you that night." "Oh." Lu Shifeng raised a brow. He gently pushed her into the room, and the door was locked with a kacha sound. Then he put a hand on the wall and looked at Luo Qingxuan, who was half a head shorter than him. "If I knew, wouldn't it be already done?" "Ah." Luo Qingxuan felt her heart skip a beat when she heard the word "already done." She still felt a bit awkward. "You said you came to propose?" In the next second, she drilled out from the gap between his arms, picked up a pillow, and sat cross-legged on the sofa. He softly replied. "Uncle Luo has already agreed." Luo Qingxuan heard this, and her lips twitched as she said, "Which rich family in a city doesn't want to be related to the Lu family?" Actually, she was already being tactful, directly saying that which rich family in a city didn't want to throw themselves at Lu Shifeng. "So what about you?" His voice was neither soft nor heavy, as if he was very calm as he said these 4 words. Actually, Luo Qingxuan didn't know that this calmness was just an act. Under this calm appearance, there were waves in his heart she didn't know. "Me?" She looked at Lu Shifeng in front of her and asked back, "Before answering this question, I want to ask first, why does Director Lu like me?" Although she was beautiful, in Lu Shifeng's circle, there were many girls who were more beautiful than her. Although she was from a rich family, in the rich circle, she had a bad reputation since everyone knew that the Luo family's young miss was a fool. "I just want to know the person who stole my first kiss, stole my first night, left $11.30 behind, and said that you're not responsible." His gaze narrowed, and with a dangerous smile, he walked towards her step by step. "How much do you dislike me?" The first meeting was a kind of exploration, then it was a kind of heartache, but now it was a kind of possessiveness that came from the bottom of his heart. Wait. Luo Qingxuan raised her right hand and spread her fingers in front of him. First night? She wouldn't take this blame, all right? First kiss? She didn't believe it either, all right? He was the richest man in a city and the ideal lover of every girl. If he still had his first kiss, she would cut her head off and use it as a watermelon. "It seems like my fiancé." Lu Shifeng had one hand in his pocket as he leaned back on the sofa and looked down at her. She still doesn't want to take responsibility. In the past, which woman didn't try her best to get close to him, but he didn't react at all, mentally or physically. For this reason, his mother did not refrain from doing everything she could to stimulate the desire in his body. But he was helpless. Every time he tried, he would fail. His mother always thought that he was not interested in women and was afraid that his sexual orientation would be problematic. He was desperately looking for opportunities to let different types of women get close to him. After all, Even his private secretary was a man. Luo Qingshun looked at his confident expression and couldn't help but feel that she had fallen into an unknown trap. Moreover, this trap had a sense of confinement. She changed the topic. This definitely isn't me being irresponsible. The main point is, it was an attempt, all right? Oh. In the next second, he leaned over slightly and stopped 10 centimeters away from her. His lips curled into a faint smile as he said, I don't recommend turning an attempt into a success. Chapter 657. The wind outside the window slowly blew into the room, and the lavender by the window fell down piece by piece. Luo Qingshan was in a daze. Lu Shifeng slowly raised his hand and touched her trembling eyelashes. She blinked her eyes nervously, and a blush appeared on her cheeks. Lu Shifeng was very handsome, and his sharp brows had a bit of a domineering look. It made people feel that even if they tried very hard, they couldn't understand what he was thinking. He saw that she was so focused on him, and a faint blush flashed across her fair cheeks. He pursed his thin lips and said, Let's hold our engagement ceremony on the 7th of next month at the Flow Palace Hotel. Okay? His voice was very gentle, like he was asking for her opinion. It was as if he was a completely different person compared to when he said that he was done. Luo Qingshan thought about the side mission before asking, Do you normally go to work at the Lu Group? When she asked this, she was actually a bit nervous. What is it? He chuckled, and his eyes started to blur. With a charming smile, he said, Miss Fiancé is coming to check on me. Narcissist. She heard this and said, I'm just casually asking. After a while, he said in a soft voice, I almost never go, and even my secretary is a man, so Miss Fiancé doesn't need to worry. He didn't like women since he was young. He always felt that there were countless women who cried at the slightest thing, acting coquettishly and pretending to be weak. On the way here, he had seen too many of them. The higher he stood, the more he hated being in contact with women. Even if it was a strong woman, there were times when he could receive some kind of gaze. Therefore, his mother thought that he was but actually he just hadn't met the right person yet. Or it could be said that there were some people who entered your life and hit your heart at the right time. From then on, there was no stopping. The next morning, Luo Qingshan looked at the calendar and saw that the end of the year was approaching. The side mission had to be completed, and there wasn't much time left, so she had to enter the Lu Group. Her first thought was if she could talk to Lu Shifeng and cheat. Wouldn't it be fine as long as she took the third prize? Anyway, she was his fiancée, but she never thought that the system would suddenly say, the side mission must be completed through proper means. It is very likely that you will lose experience points if you cheat. In the end, she decided to exchange for a fake diploma and enter the Lu Group. Anyway, this wasn't her first time doing this. The first time was unfamiliar, the second time was familiar, and the third time practice made perfect. Ding, 100 exchange points. The original owner didn't go to school. She didn't leave home more than twice a year. Not to mention interpersonal relationships. Even in the rich and powerful circle, not many people had seen her before. Although the Venice hotels by her name by Lu. In the eyes of normal people, there was probably no one in this world who knew about Luo Qingshan. Buys is buys by her by Lu. Buys is by her buys. By Lu. After all, the Lu Group was the biggest supermodel in a city and even the country. She would either apply for a model or a designer. It was no wonder Lu Shifeng said that he almost never went to the company. It didn't seem like it would be of much use for him to go to such a corporation. Chapter 658. The interview was set for 3 days later, and she exchanged for the fashion design skill from the system. Ding, 500 exchange points has been taken. Successfully exchanged for the fashion design skill. But for something like design, it was useless to just have theoretical knowledge. Inspiration was the soul of design. The interview wasn't simple. Luo Qingshan used her theoretical knowledge to get the chance to try it out. Of course, what she didn't know was, the team she entered was the worst team in the Lu Group, Group F. After all, a good team wouldn't have people leaving. Group F's main model was by Sure who had been in the industry for 3-4 years, but didn't have any achievements. Since the main assistant has left, You'll be taking over her job for now. HR looked at her and impatiently introduced her. Luo Qingxun couldn't help helplessly shaking her head as she thought in her heart. It was supposed to be a fashion designer. How did she become an assistant? In her heart, the Lu group had lost 1 point. Humph! Selling dog meat on sheep's head. The head designer of Team F glanced at her and said coldly, "Yes." "All right." She treated her words like gold. The first person to talk to her was Group F's model, by Sure. Luo Qingxun's first impression of her was that she was very beautiful, a kind of beauty that wasn't stained by the mud. "Welcome to Dream Team," Bai Sure said in a soft voice as her eyes lit up like stars. Luo Qingxun politely nodded as she looked around. The so-called Dream Team, there were only 4 people other than her. Other than the main designer and Bai Sure, there was a photographer and a makeup artist. God, this was called a team? Familiarize yourself with your surroundings today. HR took out a map for her and said, from the 5th floor to the 20th floor, there are model teams and each floor has 7 rooms. They are arranged from A to F. She gave a soft nod and didn't ask anything else. But she never thought that HR would add, the 20th to the 25th floor are all meeting rooms. Don't go there if you don't have anything to do. The 25th to the 13th floor are forbidden areas. You can't go there if there are no special circumstances. Do you understand? Oh, she calmly replied. After HR left, Bai Sure was the first to come up and introduce herself. She had a gentle personality with a little bit of shyness. You're new here, so you probably don't know anything. Our team doesn't have many people, so there's no need to be so restrained. Hello, I'm Little E. The photographer who was holding the prescription waved his hand. Little E was a rather dull-looking boy with black-rimmed glasses and 2 small canine teeth. The makeup artist hurriedly prepared the things and said, I'll go to the 7th floor to replace Sister Weiwei. She's giving birth today. And go. Bai Sure waved at her. Before she left, she didn't forget to say, It's good to be new. My name is Mo. See you later. The only person she didn't have much interaction with was the so-called main designer. Bai Sure said his name was Wang Zhe. If her first impression of this team was loneliness, then her second impression was enthusiasm. His third impression was contradiction. At 10:30 in the morning, when Luo Qingxun came out to pour water, she inadvertently heard Bai Sure and Wang Zhe arguing. I said, I won't wear this kind of clothes. Bai Sure's voice was very firm, but there was a slight tremble in her voice. I say, Miss Bai Sure, can you stop pretending? Wang Zhe coldly said, If you continue like this, we'll always be at the bottom of the Lu group. Do you understand? Chapter 659. I've changed, Wang Zhe said with a self-deprecating smile. It turns out that our original idea was wrong. He thought that design was pure design. As long as the clothes were full of design, they would succeed. But this idea was ruthlessly slapped in the face by reality. After all, as long as some teams lacked a piece of cloth, they could get more votes in favor. So, are you doing this for the sake of design, for the sake of ideals, for the sake of money, for the sake of fame? Bai Sure waved the design drafts on the table and said, Then designer Wang doesn't need to waste time with me. You can change teams or change jobs, as long as you're happy. When a voice fell, a loud sound came from the door. Luo Qingxun looked at Bai Sure's back as she ran out of the office. Her eyes narrowed slightly. When Wang Zhe came out and saw Luo Qingxun, he was obviously a bit embarrassed. But then he cleared his throat and said, Come with me. She spent 10 minutes looking at Wang Zhe's design for the winter show. Every serious and meticulous line represented his love for the fashion design industry. But in some special places, his lines began to become messy and even replaced with large areas of shadow. First of all, her eyebrows moved slightly as she looked at Wang Zhe and asked, I heard your conversation with Sure. Luo Qingxun was very direct. After all, if she wanted to get the 3rd prize, her main purpose was to stay in the Lu group. She didn't want the entire F group to be dismissed. Being direct was the best way to understand things. Wang Zhe was obviously stunned. His eyes flashed with an unknown emotion as he looked at her and said, I came to ask your opinion on these drafts. Secondly, she pursed her lips and interrupted Wang Zai's words and continued. Are you and Sure a couple? If they weren't a couple, why would he stay by her side to be her main designer in the face of a model who wouldn't be popular in 3 or 4 years? No matter how she thought about it, it was hard to understand, unless their relationship wasn't ordinary. Wang Zai was a bit angry. He was in a bad mood, and now this new assistant wanted to hit the crater of a volcano. The next second, he said, You're the assistant who applied for HR? I came to ask your opinion on the drafts. Why are you talking nonsense with me? Do you understand drafts? Do you know anything about design? In an instant, Luo Qingshan sneered and said, What's the point of asking me about a manuscript that you yourself have denied? Wang Zai was stunned on the spot, and the air fell into a long, dead silence. Luo Qingshan indifferently leaned on the chair, crossing her arms and looking at Wang Zai in front of her. He seemed to be very distressed between ideal and reality. After a long time, he sighed helplessly and said, Models nowadays don't look at the designs of their clothes when they walk on the runway. It's the amount of fabric the models figure. Wang Zai's words made Luo Qingshan think for a long time. The final conclusion was, Lu Group will be deducted 10 points. During lunch, Sure was completely out of it. She was like a walking corpse. When she came over with the plate, she bumped into Group A's supermodel Sunai. Sunai was wearing a low-cut red dress with delicate makeup and red lipstick. She had the scent of Chanel No. 4 perfume on her that was a bit pungent. Damn, don't you look where you're going? A look of contempt flashed in Sunai's eyes as she looked at Sure and said, Yo, I was wondering who it was. So was the shame of the modeling world. Chapter 660. Their voices were very loud and instantly attracted everyone's attention. Sunai raised her head and looked down at Sure as she said, No height, no figure. You think you could be a model just because you dress up? It's been 4 years Sure. We could be considered to have entered the industry at the same time. I have over 1 million followers on Weibo. Do you even have 100? Her every word was filled with ridicule and disdain, each word piercing into Sure's heart. The surrounding crowd began to laugh. The 12th floor's F group was the worst group in the entire Lu group. In 4 years, there was no show. No matter how big or small they would always be in last place, not giving up a single show. This kind of record being maintained was quite hard to come by. The little girl saw that Sure was being bullied and charged forward to stand beside her. She pointed at Sunai with an angry look and said, What does it matter to you? Luo Qingshan expressed that when it came to insulting people, the two of them really weren't good at this. Who are you? Late stage? Makeup? Design? Sunai looked up with cold eyes and her red lips curled as she said, I'm really sorry. I really can't remember the people behind the scenes who have never gone on stage to receive an award. Ha ha ha. A sharp laugh rang out as one of Sunai's colleagues came over and said, Nai, what are you talking to them for? You're lowering your status. That's right. Sunai heard this and her eyes jumped up. When she left, she didn't forget to deliberately bump into Sure, causing the plate of mapo tofu to fall on her blue dress. Sure grabbed Sunai's clothes, but she never thought that with a sigh sound, her waist would be ripped open. After that, a deafening slap sound filled the entire cafeteria. Sunai's slap was very strong, and for a weak girl like Sure, she instantly fell to the ground. You, me? Sunai clapped her hands and said, Do you think the company will want a waist like you or a popular person like me? Sure's eyes instantly turned red, not knowing how to refute Sunai at all. Luo Qingshan narrowed her eyes and immediately walked over when Sure fell to the ground. Are you all right? She said. I'm fine. In the next second, Luo Qingshan's eyebrows moved slightly. She pretended to be slightly reproachful as she said, Tell me, are you stupid? Sure was stunned, as if she did not react to where these words came from. Luo Qingshan revealed a smile. Her eyes fell on Sunai as she continued. This young Miss Red dress is too small, so as long as you use a bit of strength, your waist will naturally collapse. She wants it to collapse. Sure. Do you understand? Su Nai's eyes trembled. She who had the upper hand instantly fell down. She looked at Luo Qingshun and said, "Where did this be *tch come from? Do you know who your sister Nai is? So what if I know? So what if I don't?" Luo Qingshun sneered. "A person who doesn't even have the basic qualities. If I know who she is, it will only lower my status and grade." "You." Su Nai suddenly raised her hand. When she wanted to slap down, Luo Qingshun instantly caught it. After that, her lips curled into a beautiful curve as she said, "There are many people in this world who want to slap me, but there really isn't anyone who has succeeded." She forcefully threw off Su Nai's hand and turned to Bai Shir beside her. "Let's go." Chapter 661. Returning to the office, Xiao Yi was talking to everyone about Luo Qingshun's actions and everything she said. Luo Qingshun's inner OS. This person's memorization must be very good. It's too late to say anything. Qingshun grabbed Su Nai's hand and a sharp glow appeared in her eyes. Stop. Luo Qingshun cleared her throat, showing that she couldn't keep listening. "Wow, you're so handsome just thinking about it." Momo put her hands together and looked at Luo Qingshun like a little fangirl. Wang Zai's expression didn't look good. He looked at Bai Shir and awkwardly said, "Are you all right?" She replied before returning to her office, not saying anything else. "Then let's have a short meeting in 15 minutes. The short meeting was mainly about the winter show in 10 days. Wang Zai gave Bai Shir his latest design for her to see. When Bai Shir saw the design, her mood seemed to be quite good. "Why don't you stick to your own ideas and use the design you gave me before?" Bai Shir pursed her lips into a faint smile. "After this winter show, I'll be going to Group A on the 15th floor. Wang Zai's voice was not soft or heavy, but it was very clear. Bai Shir was startled. Her eyes that were originally shining with stars instantly dimmed. Not to mention Bai Shir. Even Luo Qingshun was a bit shocked when she heard Wang Zai's announcement. Group F wouldn't really be disbanded, right? You made your decision? After a while, Bai Shir's voice softly sounded. There was no complaint or anger in her voice. Wang Zai slightly knit his brows and said, "I hope that my work can be seen by others. When more people see my work, there will be enough people who like me. I'll come back and be with you." "No need." Bai Shir gave a slight nod. There were a few tears in her eyes as she said with a faint smile, "There's no need to wait until the winter show is over. If you want to leave, you can leave now." A few days ago, the 15th floor Group A's main designer had been hospitalized because of a heart attack, and the position had been empty. It should be someone who wanted to poach Wang Zai. "But Luna has always liked you." Bai Shir chuckled. "From university to now, hasn't it?" "Who is Luna?" Luo Qingshun wrote these words on the notebook before handing it over to Little E. Little E replied with 3 words, "Admirer." In the next second, Bai Shir handed the manuscript to Wang Zai and said, "I wish you a bright future." As soon as he finished speaking, he slowly got up and walked toward the door of the conference room. He left behind a dumbfounded crowd. In the afternoon, HR officially informed Wang Zai of his transfer and said, "You don't have to participate in the winter show. You don't have to record your results this time." Everyone looked at each other. They wanted to say something, yet it was like a fishbone was stuck in their throats, and they didn't know what to say. A team without a leader was like the emperor's new clothes. Without the core shares, there was no way to show the value of the team. In the end, the first one to stand out was still Bai Shir, because she really did not want to give up. Every runway show was a stage that belonged to her. As a person, she had to be worthy of herself. "But we still have Qingshun." Bai Shir glanced at Luo Qingshun and said to HR, "Please, the main designer has to have at least 5 years of experience in fashion design." HR looked at Luo Qingshun from head to toe. "She was recruited by me, so I naturally know how much weight she has." Chapter 662. "It's up to you," HR said with a cold smile. "If you want to go, then go. The result will be the same anyway. The result will be different. It's not up to you to decide." She raised her brows and said, "A recruiter carrying this much? Aren't you tired?" Compared to Sunai, the person Luo Qingshan disliked the most should be HR. As a recruiter, her words were sharp, and her words were sharp. It was like she was very great. Actually, she was HR to put it nicely, but she was just a recruiter to put it bluntly. She didn't know where she found the courage to criticize her. You. HR curled her lips and angrily stomped her foot. You're on your own. As soon as her voice fell, she slammed the door and left their office. It really was good people being bullied. I feel like we should have another meeting. Luo Qingshan turned to Xiao Yi and said, take out all of Wang Zhe's designs for me to see. In the meeting, Luo Qingshan looked at Wang Zhe's designs and couldn't help slightly knitting her brows. There was no need to mention Wang Zhe's design skills. He was a first-class designer. Each design came from the heart and had the soul of a designer. Bai Shishir saw her knitted brows and quickly said, you just came, so just treat this as practice. Anyway, we're already used to being last, so it doesn't matter. Bai Shishir was very clear on Wang Zhe's ability. If he couldn't do it, then it was impossible for a trial design to reverse the situation. Zhe. Luo Qingshan put down the designs and looked at the three people in front of her. In this world, only the champions will be remembered. As long as the second and third place are polished by time, people will quickly forget them. Qingshan. Xiao Yi awkwardly shook his head and said, I know that you just took over the winter show, so your blood must be boiling. But the Lu Group's main designers are all top-level designers. How do you know if you don't try? Luo Qingshan looked at Xiao Yi and said with a faint smile, there's a saying in this world called a dark horse. I think it's referring to us. But Bai Shishir lowered her head and said, I don't want to wear those clothes. Her voice was very soft, but Luo Qingshan heard it clearly. A model is the interpretation of the soul of the clothes. Luo Qingshan pursed her lips and chuckled. I won't let you wear those clothes. But if you don't reveal it, you won't be able to get the eyeballs. Bai Shishir sighed and said, how about we try to reveal it a little bit? Is okay. No need. Luo Qingshan shook her head. The theme of this winter show is called Where Dreams Begin. As long as you are a designer, your first reaction should be white, blue, pink, purple, Bai Shishir nodded. I heard for the 6th Floors Group C that their theme is white. To be honest, Luo Qingshan rested her chin on her hand and said, regardless of whether it's a model or a designer, it's natural that they want to be noticed. It's understandable that clothes are noticed. I know. Bai Shishir took a deep breath and said, so I don't blame him. She knew that Wang Zhe had his own dreams. She also knew that he had delayed his dreams for many years because of her. That's not what I meant. What I meant was that it's not completely wrong to attract attention. She narrowed her eyes and said, for this theme, we can use another method to get attention. Ring. Just as she was getting into her speech, her phone rang. Chapter 663. I'm sorry, I have to take this call. Her heart skipped a beat. It can't be that Sir Chairman came to the company, right? Where are you? Luo Qingshan thought for a bit before saying, I'm out shopping. Do you want to pick you up? His voice on the phone was even more magnetic than when he was face-to-face, making people's hearts numb. No. Luo Qingshan pursed her lips and said, no need. Do you need me for something? It's nothing big. He gave a soft laugh. The feeling of being rejected really wasn't good. How could it be a small matter? Luo Qingshan said, if it's nothing big, it has to be something small. Otherwise, why would a busy person like Director Lu call her? He softly replied, I miss you a bit. Dead silence. It was a dead silence. Luo Qingshan could feel that with just these few words, her face quickly turned red and her heart couldn't help beating faster. The overbearing chairman really could inadvertently touch other people's hearts. Then let's have dinner together tonight? Luo Qingshan tentatively asked since she didn't know if he had time or not. All right, I'll pick you up tonight. Lu Shifeng looked at his watch and said, I'm at the company right now. It should be close to your place. That. Luo Qingshan's lips silently twitched as she said, I'm near your company. I'll wait for you at the door. All right. When they came back after the call, everyone's eyes were filled with gossips. Yo, boyfriend. Bai Sure said, I envy people who have boyfriends. Dream building has always been a design team of single dogs. Haha, Momo said with a smile. It's a matter of minutes for Sure to find a boyfriend. In the 4 years you've been in the company, there have been over 20 confessions. Stop messing around. You're changing the topic. Bai Sure softly tapped her head with a pen and said, We're clearly gossiping about Qingchen. Why are you gossiping about me? Luo Qingchen heard the messing around and was a bit relieved. After all, the main designer had left. For the team to be able to maintain such an atmosphere, it was quite disagreeable. Ahem. After a long time, she said meaningfully, Let's return to the original topic. I have an idea about where dreams begin. What? Qingchen, tell me quickly. I'm suddenly looking forward to it. Me too. Reverse color contrast. Luo Qingchen thought for a while and explained, I guess there must be a lot of designers who use white as the primary color for this theme. So, Bai Sure pouted and said, Our primary color is black. If we use black, it will also stand out, but it won't match the theme at all. Luo Qingchen shook her head and said, We'll use red. In the beginning of Dreams, if pure white was used for the wedding dress, then red could be used for the wedding dress. This point was not contradictory. Oh my God, it's red, Lily exclaimed. But there are so few red extensions. It's not that few. Luo Qingchen corrected her seriously. It's that red doesn't have any extensions, so we'll use red as the primary color for all 5 sets of clothes. At work, there were times when one had to gamble with all their might. Nowadays, clothes always used less fabric to attract attention. She was ashamed, but she couldn't say anything. It was like Zhou Yu beating Huang Gai. One was willing to beat the other. Girls love to wear it, and boys love to see it. Chapter 664. Because it was her first day at work, she didn't use her fingerprint. She got off work 10 minutes early and went to the clothing store next door to change her clothes before buying a pair of large sunglasses. It could cover 2/3 of her face. Lu Shifeng was waiting for her in his red Benz at the door. She looked around before quickly getting in. Why are you dressed like a star? Lu Shifeng saw that she was wearing a mask and sunglasses, and his lips curled into a faint smile. Without knowing why, he felt that she was very cute like this. I'm afraid of the cold. Luo Qingchen deliberately shivered as she said, It's cold. We're more to avoid catching a cold. He revealed a gentle smile and didn't refute her as he silently turned up the heater in the car. Lu Shifeng brought her to a high-class Western restaurant where the sound of the piano flowed like water. She suddenly felt a bit itchy. After not playing for a long time, she wanted to play a song. But this idea was immediately killed in her mind, since the male lead was more important than the piano. The company will have a show in a few days. Do you want to see it? Lu Shifeng helped her cut the steak while gently saying, I feel that this theme of the show should suit you very well. The beginning of Dreams would definitely be a pure color show. Luo Qingchen's heart skipped a beat. Lu Shifeng wanted to bring her to the winter show, but she definitely couldn't go. It wasn't good to go directly. After all, in Lu Shifeng's eyes, she was a rich young miss who stayed at home all day eating and drinking. She definitely had nothing to do that. She said, Do you normally watch the company's shows? No. He shook his head and said, Without you, I wouldn't go. His tone was very calm. But why did her face turn red again? Although Lu Shifeng was the company's president, he never went to watch a show. After all, he didn't have a single woman by his side before. But now he had one. Then do you participate in the designer's evaluation? Luo Qingchen lowered her head, pretending to casually ask this. But even like this, Lu Shifeng still looked up with a faint sparkle in his eyes. I don't participate, but I get 30 points. Lin Yu will give me a score based on the popularity of the market. Lin Yu was his secretary, so he was in charge of these trivial matters. However, not only was this matter not trivial, but it was also very important. Ahem, Luo Qingchen pulled her hair behind her ears and blinked. The market sales aren't necessarily the best. Boss Lu, you should take a look at it once in a while. What if there's a surprise? Yes, she was using her connections. After all, she knew that the relationship between the models and the judges was not simple. Although the reverse color time difference that she thought it could make others' eyes light up, if she really wanted to get points, those judges might not give it to her. The relationship between a model and a judge was like that between an actor and a director. Only the person involved could understand the complicated feelings involved. All right, his black eyes lit up as he said, "So will you refuse my invitation?" Luo Qingchun thought for a moment, and her eyes lit up. "Of course not. I still want to buy some clothes. You can take it all if you like." Lu Shifeng said with a gentle smile, "Whether it is the clothes or the designer, you can take it all home." Chapter 665. After a while, he suddenly added, "Male designers can't do it." Pooh! Luo Qingchun gave a soft laugh and gave an okay sign, as a warm feeling filled her heart. She wasn't interested in being a designer at all right? After all, she was the so-called set trick master. After dinner, Lu Shifeng sent her back. When he left, he softly placed a kiss on her forehead. It was very soft. Moreover, he seriously told her that if she saw any strange women, she had to stay away. That soft kiss made Luo Qingchun feel like she was in love. Then he seriously told her to stay away, making her feel like she was being followed by paparazzi. She was quite busy in the following days, leaving early and coming back late, sometimes not coming back at all. Lu Shifeng still called her every day, tirelessly saying good morning and good night every day. He had asked her more than once what she had been busy with over the past few days, but she always cleverly avoided it, not being related to the word fool at all. It seemed like the previous her was pretending to be a fool. The Luo couple found that their daughter was no longer a fool and wanted to take her to the hospital for a full examination, but she decisively rejected them. Speaking of which, this intelligence was reversed by her. What if she was exposed to some strange radiation and became a fool again? The system could feel her thoughts and helplessly spread its non-existent hand. Since the winter show was approaching, Luo Qingchun had entered a white-hot stage of drawing and personally making clothes. If it was said that she only had theoretical knowledge in the beginning, now she could be considered a professional fashion designer. God! Bai Shi's eyes lit up when she saw the clothes. In the past, the clothes that Wang Zhe designed for her were mostly soft and elegant. After all, her temperament was very compatible with such clothes. But this time Luo Qingchun chose a dark red 2D lowly style for her. "Qingchun, am I not suited?" Bai Shi was a bit worried since she had never worn this kind of clothes before. Luo Qingchun looked at her with a serious and encouraging look. "You have to remember that you are a model. A model is like a walking clothes hanger. She must be able to wear different types of clothes, although it does not include revealing her skin." But Bai Shi still hesitantly asked, "Wouldn't it be too different from this time's theme?" I think if the inspiration for this design was the red wedding dress, then I suddenly thought of something during the creation process. Luo Qingchun explained with a serious look, "Everyone's dream starts at a different place. It's not just the white wedding dress that is a dream. Perhaps liking the two-dimensional world is the beginning of many people's dreams." Being able to think of this, it was greatly related to Lu Shifeng. After all, two of the clothes she designed were inspired by the name Lu Shifeng. To be more specific, it should be deer and maple. This was a two-dimensional lowly costume that was half celebratory and half sexy. It had an extremely eye-catching effect and stood out from the crowd. I feel that Qingchun's design is quite cute. Momo picked up the main clothes and said, "Such a big hat, and there are two large antlers. I feel that this one looks good." Xiao Yi picked up a maple leaf-themed dress and said with a look of appreciation, "If there is a chance to release it, I will definitely buy it. If there isn't, you can give this to me." Chapter 666. The winter show came on schedule with everyone's hard work, and Wang Zhe became the designer of the A group. Bai Shi was very nervous backstage. Last time they only got 1 point, which meant that out of the 70 judges, there was only one person who voted for them. It was 1 point last time and 1 point before that. God bless, God bless. I hope that we can get 1 more point this time. Bai Shi put her hands together in prayer. She was wearing a maple leaf dress, and her large eyes sparkled, looking very cute. She was like a little loli that came out of the two-dimensional world, No, it was a big lowly. Facts proved that one could wear cute clothes if they were tall. There was no limit to clothes. It depended on how the person wearing it saw it. Don't be last, don't be last. Mo held a powder brush as she helped by Sure fix her makeup, not forgetting to seriously pray. Luo Qingshun felt a vibration in her pocket as a message from a certain director, Lu, came in. I have something to do today. I'll be late. Lu Shifeng. Luo Qingshun's lips curled as she quickly typed a line on her phone. All right, but you have to bring a mango milkshake. Luo Qingshun, ding dong, drink less nutritious things. Lu Shifeng, comma. Luo Qingshun. Emergency notice? Emergency notice. The design director rushed into the backstage and said to the crowd, there will be an auction in the winter show today. Boss Lu will be there too. Everyone, be alert and do your best in this show. Bai Sure heard this, and her eyes blinked as she became even more nervous. Show auction. Luo Qingshun narrowed her eyes and muttered to herself, the winter show isn't a big show. Why would there be an auction? Qingshun, I'm a bit nervous. Bai Sure slightly nodded. She wanted to say something, but she was cut off by Sunai, who came not far away. With your status, what are you nervous about? Sunai was wearing a white puffy dress as her lips curled into a charming smile. Yo, let me take a good look at you. You really think that you came out of the two-dimensional world? How can this design be called a design? Tom, the famous designer of the Milan Fashion Week, once said that anyone who sees a piece of ready-made clothing and makes a conclusion about the whole collection is either shallow or mentally retarded. Luo Qingshun crossed her arms, and her lips curled into a cold smile as she said, I wonder what kind young Miss Sunai is. It's you again. Sunai's red lips slightly parted as she said with a fierce look in her eyes, keep being arrogant. If you're still in the Lu group after tonight, I'll write my name backwards. After being bullied by this little designer last time, she contacted a few middle-level judges in the Lu group. This time, if their group was still last place, they would jointly write a letter to the design director and ask their entire group to get out of Lu group. Everything was ready and waiting for the start of the battle. Huh? Luo Qingshun sneered and said, don't be so full of yourself. When the time comes, who knows who will leave and who will stay? Then again, your name really doesn't sound good if it's read backwards. All right. Sunai reached out her hand to point at her face and said, I want to see how long you can be arrogant for. Qingshun, forget it. Bai Sure pulled on her sleeve and said in a small voice, I've heard that she has a good relationship with a group leader on the single floor. You just came here, so you don't know the relationships between people. Bai Sure wasn't weak, but in the workplace, there were times when one had to endure. Chapter 667. Luo Qingshun's cold eyes narrowed as she watched Sunai leave. Her entire body was covered in a cold aura. She really was a walking glitter, shining wherever she went. Those who didn't know would think that she was a glitter board. It really was dazzling. Although I also hate Sunai, Mo on the side pouted her lips and said with her head down, but offending her like this, our miserable days will become even worse. It's fine. Bai Sure comforted her. Anyway, it's already very miserable. It can't be any worse. AI. Luo Qingshun slightly raised her brows and her eyes trembled as she said, there's an old saying that's good, coming back from death's door. Everyone just needs to do their best and leave the rest to the judges. It's fine if you don't talk about the judges, but now you're talking about it. Mo said with a sigh, I really want to know who voted for us each time. If I knew, I would definitely invite them to a meal. At least he wasn't a snob. Luo Qingshun gave a soft laugh. She looked at the time and said, I'm going out for a bit. Sure, you do your best. If there's anything, Mo and Xiao, you can call me. Where are you going? Bai Sure pursed her lips and said, I'm scared. This was her first time not being accompanied by Wang Zhe. This was her first time walking a fashion show that wasn't designed by Wang Zhe. Although there was a bit of disappointment in her heart, there was the feeling of walking a fashion show for the first time in her heart. It was like everything had started over and she still had a chance. She still had a chance to fight. Luo Qingshun waved her hand and said, I'll be off stage. Don't panic. She found a changing room and changed her pure white sweater into a large red coat. She also put on a hat with 2 small ears. She put on a large pair of sunglasses that covered 2/3 of her face and a mask. Unperfect. When she left the backstage, she met Sunai and a judge on the way. Sunai didn't recognize her at all and spoke to the judge in a spoiled tone. Group leader Zhang, you know our 100 charm team. We're in the top 10 every year. We have the strength to fight for first place. I know, but even Director Liu is coming this time. I'm afraid we have to be careful. Hey, team leader Zhang, there's a beach party the day after tomorrow. My sisters haven't seen team leader Zhang for a long time. They miss you so much. Oh, the man seemed to be a little moved, and the corners of his mouth unconsciously curved as he said, the C girl from last time wasn't bad. Aya, Sister C always tells me that she misses you too. All right, I'll call you the day after tomorrow, when I'm free. Then let's agree on this. Sunai narrowed her eyes, and her coquettish voice was filled with charm. Luo Qinshan was too lazy to care about her. After all, team leader Zhang was only worth 1 point. Last year, Lu Enterprises' champion was 21 points, which proved how competitive they were. Lu Shifeng's secretary should have split his 30 points. She adjusted her sunglasses and walked toward the VIP seats on the 2nd floor. There were many models around Lu Shifeng, but they were all blocked by the security guards. He seemed to be able to become the center of attention as long as he casually sat down. It didn't take any effort at all. Luo Qinshan half pushed and half pushed her way in, but she was bumped into by one of the girls. She arrogantly rolled her eyes and said, "What are you pushing for? You're acting like you can pass." In less than 3 seconds, the security guard came over and said, "Miss Luo, please come this way." Chapter 668. That person lowered her head in shame, although she wasn't willing. But after all, the man in front of her was someone invited by Boss Lu, so she didn't dare to say anything. She could only obediently make a path. Lu Shifeng really was powerful. She came up the stairs from the side, and he could quickly find her position. Powerful Director Lu. How did you know I was here? Luo Qinshan sat beside her and pushed up her sunglasses. I almost thought that I had to call you to come over. Lu Shifeng was sitting in the VIP seats on the 2nd floor, which had the best view of the show. He didn't close the door because he was waiting for her, but after waiting for her, he looked at the security guards, and the doors on both sides blocked the expectant gazes of the models outside. In the entire banquet hall, there shouldn't be a second person dressed like you. Lu Shifeng gave her the mango milkshake from the bag. Here. Wah, you really aren't going to buy it. Luo Qinshan took a sip and felt like she was stunned. The rich mango taste flowed through her mouth, and the milkshake was very flavorful. There was a touch of sourness in the sweetness. It was simply too delicious. She took 2 more sips before praising. It really is amazing. Where did you buy it? Such a great mango milkshake. She definitely had to remember the address. It was made by my family's 5-star chef. His beautiful and magnetic voice sounded in her ears. It's good that it's delicious. It was a casual tone again. He didn't feel that the other side would be moved by what he did at all. Luo Qinshan looked at him before looking at him again. She pursed her lips into a faint smile. I never thought that Director Liu would be this considerate. It's very delicious. Thank you. She thought that he would just buy something on the way, but she never thought that he would personally have his family's chef deliver it to her, so that she wouldn't eat this kind of thing. Lu Shifeng's beautiful dark eyes sparkled as his lips curled. If you like it, you can also take our family's chef. Really? Luo Qinshan felt that this suggestion wasn't bad. Yes, but there's a very small additional condition. Lu Shifeng gave a thoughtful nod. It's mainly because this chef's dishes are too good. There's someone in our family who can't eat other people's dishes other than his. At this moment, Luo Qinshan felt that she had been tricked. She pursed her lips and said, Are you talking about yourself, Boss Lu? Lu Shifeng raised his hand and pinched her little nose that was exposed as he said, My Lu Shifeng's fiancé, you really are smart. Ding, affection has increased by 10. Mission completion rate is now 50%. He didn't know why, but whenever he faced the girl in front of him, he would always become very unlike himself. He didn't like her drinking cold drinks, didn't like her sleeping late, and didn't like her looking at other men. The last time they passed by a dessert shop, she said that she liked mango milkshakes. He always felt that this kind of outside food would not taste good, so he asked the chef at home to make 2 cups of it and put it in the fridge every day. If she wanted a drink, she could have it any time. Luo Qingshun was a bit surprised as she looked at the man in front of her. She always felt that under his elegant appearance, there was an invincible little demon in his heart. With his black-bellied physique, he stepped in her life step by step. Chapter 669. Director Liu, the winter show will begin in 5 minutes. This is the list of models going on stage. The security guard respectfully handed over the list. Lu Shifeng didn't even open it when he took it, as he gave it to Luo Qingshun beside him and said in a gentle voice, "If you like anything, you can bid for it after the grading is over." The auction at the fashion show represented the ownership of the set of clothes. Most of the people participating in the auction were brands or private design teams. After buying it, they would mass-produce it and sell it in the flagship store. This was the other meaning of the auction. Luo Qingshun never thought that her clothes would be qualified to be auctioned, but in terms of grading. Even if she couldn't be first this time, she definitely couldn't be last. She hoped that her idea of reversing the color would make the judges' eyes light up. Welcome everyone to the Lu Group's annual winter show. As the world's largest model attraction, we strive to walk at the peak of fashion and luxury. The host first boasted about the Lu Group before entering the main topic. Next, let's invite the 100 Charm team to perform the Where Dreams Begin in their hearts. The background music sounded. It was Jay Chou's Dandelion Promise. Sunai was the first model to appear, so naturally she attracted the attention of many judges. Adding in the fact that she threw a few flirtatious glances and blew a few kisses during the show, the crowd was filled with cheers. What does Miss Fiancé think about this set? Lu Shifeng looked at her with a gaze of deep meaning, as his lips curled into a smile that tugged at people's heartstrings. "It's so ugly, so ugly." Luo Qingshun touched her ear and said, "Does she think that she's a fish scale, wearing so many glitter pieces on her?" It can't be that Lu Shifeng liked Sun Nai's glitter pieces and was planning to give them to her, right? Luo Qingshun thought. If it really is like this, the Lu Group will lose 100 points. Seeing her pursed lips looking a bit angry, his lips slightly curled as he said, "Great minds think alike." When she heard this, she seriously looked at him and nodded twice. He really was the richest man in the city. He still had a bit of eyes. The rest of the runway show was similar to what she had predicted. Most of the designers used white as their primary color. After watching for 15 minutes, her vision started to get a little tired. She felt that everything in front of her was the same gauze, chiffon, and occasionally a few sequins. It wasn't ugly, but it was too standard. Luo Qingshun picked up the list in her hand and glanced at it. The Dream Team's show was at the end. She really wasn't interested in watching this kind of show. She leaned on the sofa and took a nap for a while with the help of her sunglasses. He didn't expect that he would oversleep during this short nap. When the Dream Team began, it was Lu Shifeng who woke her up. "Look at how tired you are." He held her hand with some heartache and said, "After this, you can have a good sleep." Before she could react to the meaning of Lu Shifeng's words, Bai Shishir had already walked onto the stage. Hiss! In an instant, the entire crowd was in an uproar. The whispers grew louder and louder. There were praises and criticisms, but it was not unacceptable. Because the Dream Team didn't have many models, she could only change in a minute, unlike the other teams that could walk with 5 people. But Bai Shishir was very professional. She changed very quickly behind the scenes each time, and her stage presence was very good. Chapter 670. This is the team that came in last in the fall show last time. It seems to be Wang Zhe's team. Their design is very conservative. Didn't Wang Zhe go to the A team? Who is the designer of this set? I've never heard of them. They should be new. After Bai Shishir finished the show, it was Wang Zhe's Maryland's team. The first model to come on made Luo Qingshun unconsciously give a cold sigh. They really are saving on fabric costs. The main model, Luna, was wearing an ice blue backless dress that only covered a little bit of fabric until the faintly discernible part of her buttocks. Luo Qingshun looked over at Lu Shifeng on the side and asked, "What do you think of this set of clothes?" After a while, Lu Shifeng's dark eyes turned cold as he said, "I think that the Lu group should be able to afford the fabric." Pooh! Luo Qingshun pursed her lips and gave a soft snort. This kind of dress only looks good on the runway. If it was auctioned, who would dare wear it? There are many kinds of back-revealing dresses. It wasn't just revealing the entire back, all right? His eyes had a faint liguang as he said, "My fiancé's words are reasonable." After the final team finished the show, the lights on the stage lit up. So the names of the model teams appeared on the screen, and the host's excited voice rang out. "Let us use our warmest applause to welcome the lead models onto the stage to witness this exciting scene." Pa, 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 pa. There was a warm round of applause. The host continued, "Next, let's invite the judges to give their comments." The first to speak was group leader Wang. "I feel that the 100 Charm Team show is very suitable for the theme of the beginning of dreams. A pure white wedding dress with some sequins. I can only say, it's very good. Thank you, judges." Sunai gave a bow as her eyes filled with pride. Another judge, Old Wang, continued, "This time Maryland's team has made a big breakthrough. This show has allowed me to see a different side of designer Wang Zhe. The bold ideas and the use of many small embellishments are all very professional." "Well, I have a slight disagreement with Old Wang." A refined and elegant young man, wearing glasses, slowly said, "I think this is the worst design of this winter's show." Luo Qingshun squinted at the nameplate in front of the teenager. Fortunately, the nameplate was big enough, otherwise she wouldn't be able to see it from her position. That young man was called Lin Xing. He didn't seem to feel the host's awkwardness and continued, "This is a winter show. The backless dress itself is a very bad idea. Furthermore, I heard that there will be a lot of people in charge of big brands coming to the show today. How many backless models are there? Do you know how to shoot them?" That's true," the host said while warming up the atmosphere. "I'm also embarrassed to wear this." The next second, another judge, Wan Yukai, raised a sign and said, "I feel that although the clothes designed by the Dream Team this time don't fit the theme, the overall visual is eye-catching. I heard that he's a new designer. He's pretty good." Bai Shirshi's heart skipped a beat as she hurriedly bowed. "Thank you, Judge." Wang Zhe backstage looked in by Shirshi's direction. His heart was filled with mixed feelings, feeling very uncomfortable. Luo Qingshun in the VIP stands nodded in agreement and said, "Good eyes." Chapter 671. At the same time, Sunai standing on the side saw someone commenting on by Shirshi's clothes. He glared at her fiercely and then gave group leader Junjun, who was below the stage, a look. Team leader Junjun looked a bit awkward, but he still raised a sign and said, "I have a different view from Lin Xing on this. Design is design, and theme is theme. If the design concept deviates from the theme, there is no meaning at all." "Damn, they're here to tear down the stage." Luo Qingshun deliberately lowered her voice and came close to the prepared microphone to say, "Who set the rule that the dream has to start with the wedding dress? Could it be that this judge's dream starts with a wedding dress?" After that, everyone looked over at Luo Qingshun in the VIP seats. It was a good thing that she was tightly wrapped up and she deliberately lowered her voice, so no one should know who she was. That judge called Junjun wanted to say something, but after seeing Lu Shifeng beside her, he immediately said, "That's reasonable, that's reasonable." As soon as his voice fell, he immediately tapped his head. He angrily glared at Sunai as his heart filled with anger. He could only blame himself for being stupid. He clearly knew that Lu Shifeng was here, so why did he stick out for no reason? All right, next we ask the judges to look at the light in front of you. Give your precious vote to the work you like. The host entered the final stage with a smile. The votes on the LCD screen slowly increased since there were so many performances, so they had to choose carefully. Luo Qingshun was a bit surprised. She never thought that they would enter the voting stage this quickly. She thought that there would be a few more judges before the voting began. "Director Liu, I heard that you have 30 votes. Luo Qingchen looked at him and said, "How do you vote?" "Oh." He seemed to have suddenly realized something. His black eyes sparkled as he said softly, "I asked Wan Yu to throw herself in." "What?" Luo Qingchen was surprised, feeling that she had miscalculated. "What is it?" Lu Shifeng took her hand and said in a pampering voice, "I thought that you would at most participate in the auction and wouldn't participate in the scoring." Luo Qingchen gave a sigh with a depressed look as she muttered, "I clearly want to participate in the scoring and not the auction, all right?" When she was immersed in this depressed atmosphere, there was a sudden gasp from the crowd. Luo Qingchen suddenly looked up and found that the Dream Team was in first place. They had 3 times the votes of the second-place team. God, Dream Team, what is this situation? I thought that after Wang Zhe left, they wouldn't be able to participate. See, this score is too high. There's a problem. Sunai looked at the screen as she said, "Is this possible? There must be a problem with the back-end data. How could they do it? Quickly, staff, quickly." The host seemed a little embarrassed, but he still picked up the call and asked the backstage staff to investigate the reason. Unbeknownst to him, the result given by the backstage was that all data was normal. Bai Shishir looked at the LCD screen, and her eyes instantly turned red. For years, she had been in this industry for an entire 4 years. It was like Su Nai said, she didn't have any fans and no one liked her. She quietly put on a show to show her own style and wanted to make a name for herself. Dreams always came unexpectedly.